Welcome to the fantasy audiobook, Unstoppable God. Start from adding attribute points infinitely. Chapter 21. The fat boy didn't seem to notice it. He just stretched out his chubby right hand and touched his smooth chin. After thinking for a while, he suddenly thought of something and asked tentatively. Brother Lu Yun, are you interested in the pure yang gang qi issued by the Martial Academy, so you have been trying to practice it these 2 days? Lu Yun shook his head. The minimum requirement for practicing pure yang gang qi is to advance to the Tongmei realm and generate true qi in the body. I still have some time to break through now. Oh, that's right. The fat boy was slightly stunned, and then kindly reminded, although you have a 5-star root bone, I still advise you not to practice this martial art. When you break through to the Tongmei realm, go to the Gongfa Pavilion to choose a new one. Why is that? Lu Yun asked in confusion. Pure yang gang qi is the top first-class martial art. If you practice it to the extreme, you can open up the 12 meridians. It is impossible for Lu Yun to give up practicing without a reason that convinces him. Next, the fat boy explained the reasons one by one. It turns out that pure yang qi is indeed the top-notch martial arts, and there is no better martial arts in the Gongfa Pavilion. However, pure yang qi is not easy to get started. Every new disciple with a 5-star root talent or above will get pure yang qi, but only a few can finally practice it, and finally have to give up. Moreover, even if the talent is good enough and successfully practice it, it can only be practiced to perfection and open up 9 meridians in the end. Taking a huge risk, it can only open up 9 meridians in the end. It is better to choose a top-notch martial arts from the beginning. Pure yang qi is a piece of chicken ribs for others, which is tasteless to eat and a pity to throw away. But for Lu Yun, it is not a chicken rib. On the contrary, it is a shortcut for him to improve his combat power and overtake others. How is it, senior brother is good to you, and I have told you such a secret news? The fat boy stared at Lu Yun and said seriously. Oh, thank you for telling me, senior brother. Lu Yun's eyes flickered, and then he said, just now senior brother said that you are here to deliver the entry assessment reward. I am a little curious, what is your identity? The fat boy narrowed his eyes slightly, revealing a shrewd light. Oh, look at my memory, I almost forgot the main thing. He slapped his forehead and introduced himself. My name is Duan Qing, you can call me senior brother Duan. I am currently on duty in the Internal Affairs Hall, responsible for issuing the entry assessment rewards. As he said, he took out 4 special porcelain bottles and handed them to Lu Yun. This is a 3rd-grade body tempering pill, a bottle of Tongmei pill, and a reward for a 5-star ordinary root bone. Hey, it's really troublesome senior brother Duan. You have to run this trip in person. Come on, sit down and have some tea. While being polite, Lu Yun grabbed the 4 bottles of pills, as if he was afraid that the other party would regret it. Seeing that Lu Yun only had pills in his eyes and completely left him aside, Duan Qing instantly had such an idea in his mind. This junior brother Lu Yun is a fellow disciple. Junior brother, as a senior and a brother, I need to give you a suggestion. Duan Qing restrained his smile and made a serious look. You are only in the middle stage of the martial arts realm now. The most urgent task is to quickly refine your body and advance to the Tongmei realm as soon as possible, so that you can gain a foothold among the elite disciples as soon as possible. Otherwise, after the 1-year novice protection period ends, if you have not yet been promoted to the Tongmei realm, you will not only be demoted to an ordinary disciple, but also all kinds of benefits and treatment will be reduced. Is that so? Lu Yun frowned slightly and played with the small porcelain bottle in his hand. Junior brother, don't worry. I like you, so I can help you. Oh, how are you going to help me? Junior brother has a 5-star bone structure and is not bad in talent, but he suffers from a lack of cultivation resources. But now it's different. The bottle of Tongmei Dan in your hand is worth a lot of money. If you change it to QT Dan, it will be enough to help you cultivate to the Tongmei realm. How about this, junior brother, you have just come to the Martial Arts Academy and are not familiar with anything. I will help you with this bottle of Tongmei Dan. That's not good. Lu Yun hesitated. It doesn't matter, senior brother, I enjoy helping others, especially helping talented disciples like you. Duan Qing said heroically. According to the normal market price, 1 bottle of Tongmei Dan can be exchanged for 5 bottles of QT Dan. Senior brother sees that you are more compatible, so I will give you 6 bottles. What do you think, junior brother? After saying that, a pair of eyes stared at Lu Yun closely. No, it should be the bottle of Tongmeidan in Lu Yun's hand. Okay, Lu Yun agreed very readily. Duan Qing did not lie. The value of 1 bottle of Tongmeidan was indeed similar to the price of 5 bottles of cultivation. It was just that ordinary people would not exchange Tongmeidan for cultivation. The higher the level of the elixir, the rarer it was, and it was often in short supply. However, Lu Yun was different. He had a panel, and both cultivation and Tongmeidan would be converted into energy. Although he had not tried it, the energy converted from 6 bottles of cultivation should not be less than that converted from 1 bottle of Tongmeidan. For Lu Yun, the possibility of losing out in this transaction was very small. That was why he agreed to it so readily. Brother, did you agree to it so easily? Duan Qing looked at the bottle of Tongmeidan in front of him with a strange look on his face. But he did not hesitate at all, and took it over immediately, and then took out 6 porcelain bottles of cultivation as quickly as possible and handed them to Lu Yun. Brother Duan, if possible, I hope to continue to cooperate with you in the future. Definitely, Duan Qing said contentedly. I will continue to distribute assessment rewards. I will visit my junior brother when I have the chance in the future. After Duan Qing left, Lu Yun could not wait to return to the room, opened the porcelain bottle, poured a body tempering pill into his mouth, and swallowed it. Energy value 1.8. As soon as he absorbed the first body tempering pill, the energy point value on the panel changed from the original 0.3 to 1.8. In other words, 1 body tempering pill can be converted into 1.5 energy points. After knowing this, Lu Yun was immediately shocked. 1 body tempering pill is equivalent to 1.5 energy points. There are 10 body tempering pills in each porcelain bottle, and 9 porcelain bottles have a total of 90 body tempering pills. In other words, as long as all the body tempering pills are taken, his energy points will surge to an unprecedented 135.3. After thinking this through, Lu Yun swallowed 1 body tempering pill after another without any hesitation. Energy value 3.3. Energy value 4.8. Energy value 6.2. Energy value 7.7. Energy value 135. Half an hour later, the energy points on the panel increased to 135. It was different from what Lu Yun had expected, but not by much. The reason for this difference should be that the quality of these body hardening pills is not exactly the same. However, none of this matters anymore. The first time he had so many energy points, Lu Yun almost laughed out loud. Name: Lu Yun. Force: Filing Martial Arts Academy. Martial Arts: Perfection of Broken Wind Sword Technique cannot be upgraded. Minor success of Hunyuan Gong 60%. Pure Yang Gang Qi not yet entered. Root Bones 5 stars. Martial Art: Entering the middle stage of the martial arts realm. Energy value 135. Sure enough, if you want to get more energy points, you still have to leave your small place and join a big force like the Martial Arts Academy. Looking at the 135 energy values on the panel, Lu Yun showed a satisfied smile on his face. Since he discovered the panel, the total energy value he gained has never exceeded 20. Now, after only a few days in the Martial Arts Academy, the energy value has skyrocketed to 135. This shows that shallow water really can't raise a real dragon. Maybe, today I can improve the top-notch martial arts of pure Yang Gangchi to the extreme. Lu Yun can't be 100% sure. After all, the higher the level of martial arts, the more energy value is consumed for improvement. However, it is more than enough to improve the Hunyuan Gongfa to the limit. Lu Yun walked out of the room, found a place in the courtyard, and prepared to start improving. Consume an energy value. Hunyuan Gong has been improved to Xiaocheng 69%. Consume an energy value. Hunyuan Gong has been improved to Xiaocheng 78%. Consumption. Soon, after consuming 6 energy values, Hunyuan Gong increased to Dacheng 1%. At this moment, Lu Yun felt that the energy and blood in his body had surged, and at the same time, the bones and muscles in his body had been qualitatively improved, as if every cell in his body was full of powerful power. He couldn't help but pick up the long knife placed on the chair next to him and perform the wind-breaking knife technique in the courtyard. Phew. The first move is to sweep through thousands of troops. The sword wind roared, as if a strong wind was blowing, lifting the dead leaves on the ground and flying all over the sky. The second move is to break through thousands of mountains. A cold light flew past, and the flying dead leaves were penetrated by a tyrannical force, and countless debris fell down. The third move shakes everything up. Lu Yun's figure was as fast as a phantom, and he slashed out with a knife. The sky was full of knife shadows, like an extremely dense knife network, instantly smashing the falling debris into pieces. Attack speed, explosive power and physical strength are all improved. Seeing that after the upgrade, there were still hundreds of energy values left, Lu Yun did not hesitate and chose to upgrade again. Boom. As soon as the thought fell, the energy value disappeared again, and Hunyuan Gong increased to Dacheng 5%. I feel that the energy value is consumed one by one too slowly, which is very unsatisfactory. With a thought, Lu Yun's energy value disappeared by 10 points in an instant, and Hunyuan Gong increased to Dacheng 45%. Immediately afterwards, a sharp pain spread throughout his body, as if the bones in his body were shattered by a powerful force. The pain made Lu Yun tremble all over and sweat dripped from his body. However, this pain did not last long. A warm current surged from the heart and spread throughout the body, gradually restoring the bones and easing the previous pain. My physical fitness must have improved too much just now, and my brain and memory couldn't keep up, which is why I feel so painful. After experiencing a torture, Lu Yun did not dare to be more reckless. After consuming 2 energy values, Hunyuan Gong is upgraded to Dacheng 53%. After consuming 2 energy values, Hunyuan Gong is upgraded to Dacheng 61%. Consumption. When another wave of energy was consumed, Hunyuan Gong finally reached the limit of Dacheng. Lu Yun suppressed his excitement and carefully improved. Boom. 2 energy points were consumed, and then an extremely tyrannical force rose from the body, quickly sweeping across the muscles, bones, and every cell. Qi and blood boil, bones tremble, and cells sublimate. Lu Yun could vaguely feel the improvement in physical fitness and sublimation of strength. Different from previous lifts, this lift was very comfortable and smooth, without any discomfort. As time passed, the physical body gradually changed, and a warm breath was born in the dantian in the body, as thick as a hair, and soon began to flow, carefully flowing towards all parts of the body for tempering. Poof! After about half a cup of tea, Lu Yun heard a soft sound coming from his body. His body once again exceeded the limit, and the warm breath in his dantian grew stronger. Break the limits and generate your true energy. According to the records of Hunyuan Gong, once it reaches the perfection stage of its cultivation, the physical body can be perfected, and it can take this opportunity to generate true energy in the dantian. Once true energy is born, it proves that one has crossed the limit of entering the martial arts realm and is promoted to the second realm of martial arts, the Tongmei realm. After a while, the true energy overflowed the dantian, just like a river gradually filling a lake. Tongmei realm, breakthrough. Lu Yun woke up from his breakthrough state. The first time he opened the panel. Name: Lu Yun. Force: Filing Martial Academy. Martial Arts: Po Feng Sword Technique Perfect, cannot be improved. Hunyuan Gong Perfect 1%, can be improved. Pure Yang Gangqi not yet started, can be improved. Root Bone, 5 stars. Martial Arts: Early stage of Tongmei realm. Energy points: 103. Ha! Lu Yun looked at the martial arts column on the panel and couldn't help but feel shocked. The highest level of Hunyuan Gong is perfection. He has never heard of other levels above perfection in martial arts. Moreover, the words, can be improved, are displayed on the panel. This was clearly telling him that there was a higher level beyond perfection, which meant that there was still room for improvement in Hunyuan Gong. After realizing this, Lu Yun no longer hesitated and continued to improve his Hunyuan Gong. After breaking through to the Tongmei realm, his physical fitness and strength have been greatly transformed. He directly consumes 5 energy points. Sure enough, after consuming 5 energy points at once, I didn't feel any discomfort. On the contrary, I felt comfortable because the limit was raised again. Over and over again, it was improved 7 times in a row, and after consuming 35 energy values, the Hunyuan Gong on the panel changed. At the same time, the dantian expanded again, its capacity almost doubled, and more infuriating energy was born. Feeling the transformation of his dantian, giving birth to more and more powerful qi, Lu Yun couldn't help but roar in his heart to vent his excitement. The dantian has doubled in size, which means that the limit of his qi is twice that of other warriors of the same level. This means that, having just entered the Tongmei realm, his foundation and potential are twice or more than those of others. Thinking of this, Lu Yun couldn't help but refocus his attention on the panel. Hunyuan Gong. Tongshuan 1% can be improved. Tongshuan. No, Hunyuan Gong has not reached its limit. It can still be improved. Looking at the Hunyuan Gong that can still be improved on the panel, Lu Yun couldn't help but blink his eyes to make sure he was not mistaken. Above perfection is Tongshuan, and above Tongshuan is there a higher level. With the idea of improving his foundation and potential as much as possible, Lu Yun did not hesitate for long and chose to improve again. The energy value gradually decreased, and the body was constantly shaking. Looking at the Hunyuan Gong that was constantly improving in practice and the energy value that was constantly decreasing, Lu Yun was in pain and joy. When he felt the drastic changes in dantian again, the energy value was only 30. Look at the martial arts column on the panel again. At this time, Hunyuan Gong has been upgraded from Tongshuan to Dongzhen. At the same time, the words of practice progress and improvement behind it have become unavailable for improvement. Above martial arts perfection is Tongshuan, and above Tongshuan is Dongzhen. Is there a higher level above Dongzhen? However, the Hunyuan Gong at the Dongzhen level is really abnormal. Not only did it allow his body to break through the limit again, but it also expanded dantian by more than 4 times. Lu Yun stood in the courtyard, closed his eyes and felt his powerful body and the qi that was constantly overflowing in his dantian. If the qi in his body was a stream before, it was now a mighty river, which had increased several times. I wonder if my qi now is equivalent to the qi of other Tongmei realm warriors who have opened up many meridians. Lu Yun came back to his senses, with a strong smile on his face. In the stage of unblocking meridians, it is mainly about opening up the meridians in the body. The higher the potential, the faster the meridians can be opened and the greater the number. Different martial arts are chosen, and the number of meridians that are finally opened is also different. The number of meridians determines the limit of the true energy of a Tongmei realm warrior. Lu Yun has just entered the Tongmei realm. Without opening one meridian, the true energy is already the same as other Tongmei realm warriors who have opened 2, 3 or even 4 meridians. In other words, now Lu Yun, in terms of quantity of true energy, is no longer weaker than a Tongmei realm warrior who has opened several meridians. A few hours ago, Lu Yun is only a warrior who has entered the middle stage of the martial arts realm, but now his Hunyuan Gong has penetrated directly into the cave. His realm has reached the early stage of the Tongmei realm. His true energy is comparable to those warriors who have reached the Tongmei realm for a long time. With such an improvement, it is impossible not to be a little excited. However, he also understood that all this was due to the panel. Without the panel, with his 5-star bones, it would take at least several months to achieve such an improvement. Moreover, this is a martial arts academy with many geniuses and countless strong men, and the Tongmei realm is nothing at all. Although Tongmei realm is just the beginning, I have already surpassed many new disciples and have completely established myself among the elite disciples. In just one day, there is such a huge jump in cultivation. It will definitely make people wonder how to solve this problem. This is obviously not an acceptable reason for taking the body tempering pill. Lu Yun's smile gradually faded. In 1 year, he was promoted from the middle stage of the martial arts realm to the early stage of the Tongmei realm. His bones are already pretty good and he can barely be considered a genius. To achieve it within half a year is at least a 4-star talent or above, which can barely be called an elite. If it takes a month, it will be at least a 5-star or even a 6-star root bone, which is almost the level of the genius of the martial arts academy. Just like Lu Yun, even those monsters with 8 or even 9 stars couldn't do it in less than a day. Lu Yun shook his head slightly, his improvement was too abnormal. I'll just stay in seclusion for a month, and then find a reason to show that I've been promoted to the Tongmei realm. Although you can't act too perverted, you can't hide your clumsiness either. If you hide your clumsiness too much, not only will you not be able to attract the attention of the martial arts academy, but even some cats and dogs will not be able to recognize the reality. He suddenly remembered the unkindness Mu Qingyan showed towards him during the martial arts assessment. If at that time, his strength was much higher than Mu Qingyan, the other party would never dare to have any dissatisfaction and hostility. After all, as long as a person is not too stupid, he will not easily offend those whose talent and strength are far above him. Of course, except for those who are arrogant, have poor IQ, and cannot recognize reality. Lu Yun believed that it would not be so easy for him to meet such a person. If you really encounter it accidentally, you can only say sorry. After recovering his thoughts, Lu Yun glanced at the stone lock in the courtyard. Suddenly his heart moved, and he grabbed it easily. Although the stone lock weighing 1,000 kilograms was not as light as a feather, it was like a toy in his hands and he could lift it easily. My current strength has completely broken the limit of 1,000 kilograms and reached a very terrifying situation. Lu Yun secretly estimated that his strength was probably about 2,000 to 3,000 kilograms, and this was without using his true energy. Once he uses his true energy, even he himself cannot estimate it. Name: Lu Yun. Force: Filing Martial Academy. Martial Arts: Po Feng Sword Technique Perfect, cannot be improved. Hunyuan Gong Dongzhen, cannot be improved. Pure Yang Gangqi, not yet started, can be improved. Root Bone: 5 stars. Martial Arts: Early stage of Tongmei Realm. Energy points: 30. It's a pity that this panel is still relatively simple and cannot display more indicators. Otherwise, you can have a good grasp of your own strength. Putting down the stone lock, Lu Yun simply tidied up, then opened the courtyard door and walked towards the cafeteria. Since entering the martial arts academy, he has been practicing in seclusion continuously and has not eaten for several days. Even if he is promoted to the Tongmei realm, he still has a need for food. Not to mention, after not eating for several days, my stomach started to get upset. Ordinary disciples and elite disciples have their own canteens, which are provided free of charge, but the elite disciples' canteen is of a higher quality. Showing his identity token, Lu Yun easily walked into the cafeteria. It was dinner time, and the cafeteria was already full of people. He packed his meal and randomly picked a place to sit down. It has to be said that the treatment in the elite canteen is much better than what is described in the disciple manual. Not only is it extremely rich, but it also contains high-quality ingredients. After eating everything, Lu Yun, who had been fasting for several days, suddenly changed his mental outlook and became full of energy. Sure enough, even though my strength has improved a lot, I'm still a complete jobber. Moreover, although these ingredients are not spiritual materials, they contain sufficient nutrients. I ate so many at once. I don't know if it will improve the accumulation of energy value. According to the previous rules, his energy value will automatically accumulate by 1 every half month. It has been almost 5 days since the last time the energy value automatically increased. After eating and drinking, Lu Yun returned to his residence. After that, Lu Yun almost always lived in seclusion. Except for the occasional 3 meals a day and eating in the cafeteria in person, he just stayed in his own courtyard and became familiar with the skyrocketing strength. The increase in energy value is like a revelation. Although they are all his things, he can use them easily. But there is a flaw. He cannot fully adapt to accepting too much at once. It takes a process to gradually adapt. Of course, this is because he took too big a step at once. According to Lu Yun's guess, if the increase is smaller, there will be no such problem. New disciples of the Martial Arts Academy have the opportunity to go to the lecture hall every week to listen to the lectures of the Martial Arts Academy teachers. People like Lu Yun who are elite disciples as soon as they enter the Martial Arts Academy can even privately ask the Martial Arts Academy teachers about the bottleneck of cultivation and other martial arts knowledge. However, Lu Yun didn't take it to heart at all. He only needs to add a little to cultivate. As long as there is enough energy value, there will be no bottleneck. At least until now, he has not encountered a bottleneck. In this way, Lu Yun was unknown alone, like a little transparent, going back and forth between his residence and the elite canteen. During this period, he did not communicate with anyone. In Lu Yun's view, meaningless socializing is not only useless, but also a waste of time. Only by improving your own strength can you achieve the best result. Otherwise, when you encounter a powerful enemy, even if you have a panel, you will be finished. In the blink of an eye, half a month has passed. I didn't expect that this upgrade would take me so much time to adapt and consolidate. Lu Yun sighed. When he upgraded the wind-breaking sword technique, he didn't consolidate it well, as if he was born to adapt. But it was different for Hunyuan Gong. It took him half a month to consolidate and adapt. Lu Yun guessed that those martial arts related to killing methods had a smaller improvement on the body, so he adapted quickly, and could even adapt and play a role instantly. But Hunyuan Gong, a martial art that tends to be internal, has a great improvement on the physical body, which is almost metamorphic, so it takes a long time to adapt. In this half-month, in addition to adapting and consolidating the surge in his own strength, he also gained other things. That is, he found that the time required to accumulate an energy value has been reduced by more than half. It used to take half a month to accumulate an energy value. Now, it only takes 7 days. Name: Lu Yun. Affiliation: Filing Martial Academy. Martial Arts: Broken Wind Blade Technique Perfect, cannot be upgraded. Hunyuan Gong Dongzhen, cannot be upgraded. Pure Yang Gang Qi, not yet entered, can be upgraded. Root Bones, 5 stars. Martial Arts: Initial stage of Tongmei Realm. Energy value: 33. Seeing the ordinary and simple panel on the panel, Lu Yun understood that this was the foundation for his foothold in this world, and he had to study and use it well. Now, the energy accumulation time is shortened. Does this mean that as long as the cultivation level breaks through, the energy accumulation time will be reduced? If this is true, his efficiency in obtaining energy value will be greatly improved in the future. The current main task is to completely convert the energy value into strength, and then go out to obtain the treasures that convert energy value. Lu Yun whispered, and then prepared to start improving the pure Yang Gang Qi. If his strength had not increased too much before and he had not fully adapted, he would have wanted to improve the pure Yang Gang Qi and open up the meridians in his body. After half a month, he has completely adapted to the surge in strength and has fully mastered it. It can be said that everything is ready except for the east wind. Dong dong. At this moment, the gate of the courtyard was suddenly knocked. Lu Yun frowned. Since he came to the martial arts academy, he has almost no contact with other people. No one should come to see him. Although he was puzzled, he still went out to open the door. GG. Lu Yun opened the gate and immediately saw a middle-aged man of medium build standing in front of him with a frosty face. Meet Elder Zhang. The man was named Zhang Zicheng, an elder of the martial arts academy, who was responsible for the training and daily life of their new disciples. Lu Yun was not very familiar with Zhang Zicheng. He had only met him once before. This time, the other party suddenly came to his door, which surprised him a little. The moment he saw Lu Yun go out, the frost on Zhang Zicheng's face gradually subsided, and his eyes flickered. In an instant, Lu Yun felt that his whole body was seen through by the other party. Lu Yun, right, why haven't you been to the lecture hall for such a long time? Do you think that you can surpass the teaching of the martial arts academy teacher by practicing hard behind closed doors, or do you think that you are so strong that you don't need to go to the lecture hall? Although Zhang Zicheng's face was no longer as ugly as before, he still gave Lu Yun a lecture. My disciple received the reward for the assessment some time ago, and his cultivation reached the critical period of breakthrough, so he practiced alone for a while. Lu Yun said in a calm tone, while releasing a little breath. During this period, he has been constantly adapting to and controlling his skyrocketing strength, and he has reached the point of receiving and sending it in his heart. If he doesn't take action, ordinary people can't see anything. He is not sure whether Zhang Zicheng knows his cultivation, so he shows it slightly. As an elder of the martial arts academy, Zhang Zicheng naturally understood Lu Yun's little action at a glance and laughed in his heart. With his strength and realm, he naturally saw Lu Yun's cultivation at a glance. But Lu Yun's ability to break through so quickly did arouse his curiosity. Remember, you were only in the middle stage of the martial realm when you first entered the sect. It's only been half a month, but you have already broken through to the Tongmei realm. Even if you completely consume 3 bottles of the tempering pill, you wouldn't be able to break through so quickly, right? I will exchange 1 bottle of Tongmei pill with senior brother Duan Qing, and regain 6 bottles of the tempering pill. After several days of hard training, I was able to break through. Lu Yun explained. He originally wanted to wait for a while before showing his strength, but since the other party had come to him, there was no need to wait that long. As expected, Zhang Zicheng nodded slightly after hearing this. Even so, you must have worked hard to break through in such a short time. Otherwise, with your 5-star physique talent, it is unlikely to break through in such a short time. In martial arts, you must also pay attention to the degree of relaxation. Although you can get good results in a short time by working behind closed doors, it will not work if you want to climb to the top. Next, you must take some time to visit the lecture hall, listen to the opinions of the martial arts teachers, and absorb some experience. It will be helpful for your future practice and growth. After a simple compliment, Zhang Zicheng returned to the main topic. In Zhang Zicheng's opinion, Lu Yun broke through to the Tongmei realm so quickly, and his talent was probably infinitely close to the top 5-star physique. After all, he had not heard of other disciples with ordinary 5-star physiques who could make such progress in half a month. Even ordinary 5-star top physiques may not be able to do it. Invisibly, his attention to Lu Yun increased again. In addition to the lecture hall, Wanxiang Tower is also a good place. Wanxiang Tower. Lu Yun's eyes flashed. The disciple manual mentioned that the Wanxiang Tower has 30 floors, and each time you pass a floor, you will get a contribution point. In the Martial Arts Academy, contribution points are the medium of all transactions, and silver is useless. If he wants to obtain elixirs such as the tempering pill and the Tongmei pill, he must use contribution points to exchange. Originally, he was still thinking that after improving the pure yang energy, he would go to the Wanxiang Tower as soon as possible. But unexpectedly, Zhang Zicheng actually brought it up himself. Seeing the change in Lu Yun's face, Zhang Zicheng mistakenly thought that the other party might be afraid of the Wanxiang Tower, and couldn't help but explain. For the disciples of the Martial Arts Academy, the Wanxiang Tower is not just a place for annual assessment. It is also a holy place for cultivation. By fighting with the monsters evolved by the Wanxiang Tower, you can hone your martial arts to the maximum extent and improve your strength. You have just broken through your cultivation. You can go to the Wanxiang Tower to try. This will be of great help to you in consolidating your strength. Quote. If it were in the past, he would not explain too much. However, Lu Yun was able to improve his strength so much in half a month. He is obviously a good genius and may grow to a very high level in the future. When he was weak, selling a favor was like sending charcoal in the snow. Perhaps in the future, when Lu Yun grows up, thinking of the good things he had done in the past, he will bring himself a lot of rewards and help. Thinking of this, his eyes looking at Lu Yun gradually softened. Thank you, Elder Zhang, for your guidance. Lu Yun bowed his hands to thank him. You should work hard to get rid of the status of an elite disciple as soon as possible and enter the Hall of Stars. Zhang Zicheng encouraged him and left. In the courtyard, Lu Yun fell into deep thought. It seems that I am still too cautious. Quote. Elder Zhang Zicheng was just a little surprised and shocked that Lu Yun had broken through to Tongmei realm in just over half a month. It seems that such a breakthrough in half a month was not as amazing as Lu Yun had imagined. Or, in other words, there were disciples in the Martial Arts Academy who had achieved such a breakthrough. No matter what, after this incident, Lu Yun had new ideas in his mind. Perhaps, in the future, I can be more amazing. Lu Yun secretly calculated in his heart. At this moment, there were 33 energy points left, and he was going to put them all into the pure Yang Gang Qi. After his strength improved, he would go to the Wanxiang Tower to have a look. Lu Yun began to recall the content of pure Yang Gang Qi. The reason why pure Yang Gang Qi is difficult to practice is that it is necessary to transform all the true Qi in the Dantian into Gang Qi, which is difficult for many geniuses. But for Lu Yun, it is very simple. Improve. Quote. 10 energy points were consumed in an instant, and the pure Yang Gang Qi was raised to the entry level 1%. Instantly, the true Qi in the Dantian began to undergo a qualitative change and began to transform into Gang Qi. Pure Yang Gang Qi also belongs to the category of true Qi, but its strength far exceeds that of true Qi. The transformation process lasted for half an hour and finally stopped. A vast breath burst out from Lu Yun's body and filled the courtyard. As soon as Lu Yun thought, the pure Yang Qi burst out and shot out like a sharp arrow. With a rumble, a crack appeared in the 300 kilogram stone lock on the ground. Is this pure Yang Gang Qi? So strong. Lu Yun couldn't help being shocked. Although the pure Yang Gang Qi is about half less than the original Gen Qi in quantity, the increase in strength is far from being comparable to the previous Gen Qi. He wasted no time and continued to add points. Previously, he consumed 10 energy points at a time without any physical discomfort. This means that after his physical transformation, his endurance capacity also increased. After consuming 2 consecutive energy values in this way, the pure Yang Gang Qi will be increased to a small success 1%. And the Gang Qi in Dantian began to automatically move towards the first meridian. Poof! With a crisp sound, the first meridian in Lu Yun's body was opened, and Gang Qi circulated in his body. Is it so easy to get through? Lu Yun was overjoyed when he felt the Gang Qi surge again. The meridians in the Tongmei realm warrior's body are like rivers, the true energy is like the flowing river water, and the Dantian is like a lake, carrying the true energy flowing from the meridians. As the number of meridians increases, the circulating qi will also increase, and finally the qi in the Dantian will also increase. Lu Yun now opened the first meridian, and the Gang Qi began to increase sharply, flowing along the meridians, into the Dantian, and so on. After the first meridian is opened, the Gang Qi in the Dantian moves towards the second meridian again. Laugh. Not long after, the second meridian was opened again, and the amount of Gang Qi increased again. Laugh. The third meridian is opened, and the Gang Qi increases dramatically. Laugh. The fourth meridian is opened, and the Gang Qi increases dramatically. With one go, all 4 meridians were opened, and the pure Yang Qi was raised to a small level before the increase brought to Lu Yun stopped. What a powerful force! Lu Yun felt stronger than ever before. The 4 meridians are all flowing with pure Yang Qi, running like a mighty river. It is indeed the top first-class martial arts. It only has a small achievement in opening up the 4 meridians, and the power is so powerful. Overjoyed, Lu Yun opened the panel. Name: Lu Yun. Force: Filing Martial Academy. Martial Arts: Po Feng Sword Technique Perfect, cannot be improved. Hunyuan Gong Dongzhen, cannot be improved. Pure Yang Gangqi, minor success 1%. Root Bone, 5 stars. Martial Arts: Middle stage of Tongmei Realm, 4 meridians. Energy value: 3. It's time to go to the Vientiane Tower. Half an hour later, Lu Yun appeared in front of a huge tower. The place was crowded with people. Lu Yun glanced around and found several acquaintances from Yunshui County. Lu Yun, with your cultivation in the middle stage of the martial arts realm, do you also want to break into the Vientiane Tower? Mu Qingyan came over with a mocking look on his face after seeing Lu Yun. At the same time, a powerful aura rose into the sky from his body. He was at the peak of entering the martial arts realm and was only 1 step away from the Tongmei realm. Lu Yun couldn't help but frown, and thought to himself, why did I meet this guy? Are you trying to force me to slap him in the face? Brother Mu, Lu Yun is an elite disciple. He is our senior brother. You have to be more respectful, otherwise be careful of people trying to look good on you. Suddenly, a young man walked over, with a look of contempt on his face, and at the same time, a more powerful aura rose in his body. Obviously, this person's cultivation level is much stronger than Mu Qingyan, and he has already broken through to the Tongmei realm. Chen Tianqi. Seeing this young man, Lu Yun began to recall this man's name in his mind, and it really reminded him of him. Chen Tianqi performed extremely well in the assessment, with 4-star top talent, and his talent was only lower than Xiao Chen and Lu Yun. In terms of strength alone, he has reached the peak of the martial arts realm, scoring 91 points on the force measuring column. He can be said to be the second strongest among the disciples in Yunshui County. Oh, I didn't expect, senior brother Lu, to remember my younger brother. Does this surprise me? Chen Tianqi bit the word, senior brother Lu, very hard, causing other people around him to turn their attention. Elite disciples are not static, especially those who are just starting out. If they cannot break through to the Tongmei realm within a year, they will be reduced to ordinary disciples. Mu Qingyan pretended not to understand Chen Tianqi's words, and said in a strange manner on the side. Brother Mu, don't forget that Lu Yun is a genius with 5-star roots. Isn't it better to break through to the Tongmei realm and drink water from the same direction? Of course I know this, but that is only when the cultivation resources are sufficient. Otherwise, if you want to break through from the early stage of entering the martial arts realm to the Tongmei realm within a year, haha. Seeing the two people talking to each other, Lu Yun suddenly felt speechless. Other time travelers always encounter this kind of thing. Either they are mean-mouthed, they like to pretend to be pigs and eat tigers, or they are really not talented enough. Why did it change when I got here? I didn't offend them in the first place, and my talent was not bad, but why someone wanted to offend me was really strange. Could it be said that all time travelers have to go through things like pretending to be slapped in the face in order to reflect the uniqueness of the time travelers? Lu Yun, you'd better go back and practice hard before coming to the Vientiane Tower. Otherwise, we will be embarrassed by Yunshui County. Mu Qingyan said coldly. Oh, how could I bring shame on Yunshui County? Lu Yun couldn't help asking. You think, the second genius in Yunshui County, the only 5-star root talent, failed to even pass the first level of the Vientiane Tower for the first time, wouldn't that bring shame to the entire Yunshui County? The one who is embarrassed is myself. What does it have to do with Yunshui County, and what does it have to do with you? Lu Yun said calmly, passed Mu Qingyan and Chen Tianqi, and walked towards the Vientiane Tower. Call out. Mu Qingyan appeared in front of Lu Yun in a flash, blocking the way forward, and said jokingly, if you can take my move, I will let you enter the Vientiane Tower, how about it? Mu Qingyan has been dissatisfied with Lu Yun since the beginning of the assessment, but he has never been able to find the opportunity. Now that he has made a breakthrough in cultivation and happened to bump into Lu Yun in such a place, he naturally wants to embarrass him. Brother Mu, what are you doing? We are all from Yunshui County. Don't hurt the harmony. Chen Tianqi stood aside, smiling with his arms folded as if watching a show. Just because we are both from Yunshui County, I have to test his strength. Mu Qingyan agreed, then looked at Lu Yun and said, you can't even catch one of my moves, right? If that's the case, get out of here as soon as possible. Lu Yun looked at Mu Qingyan in front of him, then at Chen Tianqi who was watching the show, shook his head slightly, and said calmly, do you know what a clown is? Mu Qingyan was slightly startled, as if he did not expect that Lu Yun would remain so calm in the face of his provocation and ridicule. You said we are clowns. After reacting, Mu Qingyan said angrily. A clown is an idiot who barely has any strength, but is arrogant, unable to recognize the situation, and is crazy and seeking death. Lu Yun's words immediately made Mu Qingyan look livid. HMPH, let's see who is the real clown. Mu Qingyan snorted coldly, exuding a powerful aura, which belonged to the martial arts realm, and shot towards Lu Yun. HMPH, you are so arrogant just because you have a little talent. Chen Tianqi looked gloomy and looked at Lu Yun coldly, wanting to see what he would do after being humiliated by Mu Qingyan. The others also gathered around as if watching a good show. The anger and jealousy in Mu Qingyan's chest burst out at the same time. He rushed in front of Lu Yun and punched Lu Yun hard. A powerful aura spurted out from the top of his fist with an astonishing force. Boom! Suddenly, a muffled sound rang out, and everyone was shocked. They felt a powerful burst of energy, and then saw Mu Qingyan flying backwards, hitting the ground heavily about 10 meters away, and his abdomen was slightly sunken. Blood spurted out from his mouth. Lu Yun calmly retracted his right hand, glanced meaningfully at Chen Tianqi who was stunned on the spot, and walked away without saying a word without looking back. Sometimes, a look is far more shocking than 100 harsh words. How could he be so strong? Mu Qingyan spat out another mouthful of blood, with stars in his eyes. He stood up from the ground tremblingly, his face pale. He has already broken through the Tongmei realm, and it's not as simple as just breaking through. Chen Tianqi said with lingering fear, thinking of Lu Yun's powerful explosive power and shooting speed before, he thought to himself, if it were him, could he stop it? The answer is obviously no. This is impossible. Mu Qingyan looked pale and said absent-mindedly, he had only entered the middle stage of the martial arts realm during the last assessment. It has been less than a month. How could he break through so fast? You doubt my judgment. Chen Tianqi glanced at the other party coldly and said coldly. No. Being stared at by the other party, Mu Qingyan couldn't help but shudder. HMPH, this person is not someone you and I can offend. I advise you to put your little thoughts aside in the future. Besides, from now on, let's go to each other's side. After saying that, Chen Tianqi turned and left. In less than a month, they have broken through several realms. These people are not just as talented as themselves. Although he was arrogant, he was not conceited. After recognizing the situation, he immediately drew a clear line with short-sighted people like Mu Qingyan. I thought it was a good show, but I didn't expect it was just a farce. Everyone looked at Mu Qingyan, who was standing there with disdain and left in low spirits. Among the crowd, Xiao Chen, with sharp eyebrows and starry eyes, walked out slowly and looked at Lu Yun's retreating back, looking thoughtful. Has he successfully cultivated pure yang qi? Haha, junior brother Lu Yun, we meet again. Lu Yun hadn't left far when suddenly a voice came from not far away. Looking for the sound, he saw a chubby young man walking over. He recognized the other person at a glance. This was Duan Qing, who had given him the assessment reward last time. Not to mention Lu Yun's memory, the other person's special figure had a profound impact on him. Judging from the direction he was coming from, he should have just come out of the Vientiane Tower. Junior brother Lu, it seems to me that you are different from last time. Could it be that you have made a big breakthrough in your cultivation? Duan Qing's eyes were almost narrowed into a line on his fat face, and he looked Lu Yun up and down. Lu Yun smiled slightly. After he started cultivating pure yang qi, he would give birth to a weak and powerful yang qi. After raising it to Shaocheng, the temperament of Zhigang Jiang was magnified again, which allowed Duan Qing to see some clues. Lu Yun was not a person who liked to show off. After a few ambiguous words, he changed the subject. It's my first time to come to the Wanxiang Pagoda. My understanding of it is limited to the description in the Disciples' Handbook. I wonder if Brother Ju can give me some pointers. Lu Yun asked while looking forward. The 30-story Vientiane Tower is about 30 feet tall. It stands in the wide square and looks majestic and majestic. Next to the Vientiane Tower stands a huge jade wall, which is as smooth as a mirror, with names flashing on it. There is a number in front of each name, from top to bottom, ranging from 1 to 108. Duan Qing narrowed his eyes, then nodded, looked at the Vientiane Tower, and said with a smile. Hey, this Wanxiang Tower is a spiritual weapon. It is one of the foundations of the Martial Arts Academy. It is an existence above the treasures. It has mysterious and unpredictable abilities. It can evolve monsters of the 6th level and below, and the monsters that enter it. Disciples fight. Treasure weapon, spiritual weapon, monster. Lu Yun was slightly surprised. He only knew about real weapons and mysterious weapons. As for what was on top of the mysterious weapons, he didn't know. Ju Duanqing's meaning seems to be that above the mysterious weapons are treasure weapons, and above the treasure weapons are spiritual weapons. In other words, this Vientiane Tower is an existence several levels higher than Zan Arc. Compared to spiritual weapons, he was also very curious about monsters. His parents in this body died due to the monster tide. He has no good feelings towards monsters in his heart. If he encounters them, he will definitely not show mercy. However, he had never met a monster before, and the only one he encountered was just a wolf, not even a first-level monster. During the time he entered the Martial Arts Academy, he had also learned something about monsters. The realms of martial arts are the realm of martial arts, the realm of Tongmei, the realm of true energy, the realm of transformation, the realm of Yuan liquid, the realm of golden body, the realm of talisman, the realm of golden elixir, and the realm of heaven and man. The 9 realms of martial arts correspond to monsters of levels 1 to 9 respectively. In other words, the weakest first-level monster is equivalent to a martial artist. The Vientiane Tower is capable of evolving into a 6th-level monster with the strength of a golden body realm warrior, so it cannot be said that it is not abnormal. Have you seen that jade wall? It is the all-seeing jade wall. The people who can be recorded on it are the real geniuses of the Martial Arts Academy. Their cultivation is at the late stage of Huayuan realm. The Wanxiang Jade Wall only records the 108 people with the best grades in the Wanxiang Tower. Climbing the Wanxiang Jade Wall means that from now on you will be a famous figure in Filing Martial Academy and even the entire Lingwu County. Hey, my current main goal is to leave my name on the wall, and I am getting closer to this goal. Lu Yun glanced at the fat man in front of him, although he looked chubby. She was cute, but not to mention, her demeanor was different from that of ordinary people, and it also gave Lu Yun a sense of danger. And to make the current Lu Yun feel dangerous, it can only prove that the other party's cultivation level is above the Tongmei realm. Duan Qing continued. Although the Wanxiang Tower has 30 floors, it can actually be divided into 4 levels. The 1st to 10th floors are 1 level, corresponding to ordinary disciples and elite disciples. The 11th to 15th floors correspond to the 2nd level, corresponding to the disciples of the Star Hall. The 16th to 20th floors correspond to the 3rd level, corresponding to the disciples of the Moon Hall. The 21st to 30th floors correspond to the 4th level. Those who can enter the 21st floor have the opportunity to compete for the ranking of the Wanxiang Jade Wall. Lu Yun asked tentatively. I heard that as long as you pass the 10th floor of the Wanxiang Tower, you don't have to go to the lecture hall to listen to the teacher's lectures, and you don't have to worry about being expelled from the martial arts academy. I wonder if this is true or false. As long as you pass the 10th floor of the Wanxiang Tower, you can be promoted to a disciple of the Star Hall. Why go to the lecture hall and waste time? Duan Qing rolled his eyes at Lu Yun, as if he despised him for asking such an idiotic question. After all, the strength of most disciples of the Star Hall is no worse than that of some ordinary martial arts academy teachers. Lu Yun's expression changed slightly. What kind of strength is needed to pass the 10th level? It's hard to say. Some people can pass the 10th level at the Qi realm, while others need to be in the middle or even late Qi realm. Like Meng Hongfei, the most talented of our class, who passed the 11th level right after he was promoted to the Qi realm, and thus became a disciple of the Hall of Stars. When Duan Qing mentioned Meng Hongfei, his expression was a little unnatural, which Lu Yun saw as both envy and complexity. Although he had a vague guess that there was something going on between Duan Qing and Meng Hongfei, Lu Yun did not bring it up, but asked indirectly. I see that senior brother has a strong aura, so he should have been promoted to the True Qi realm, but has he passed the 10th level? Although I have been promoted to the True Qi realm, when I entered the 10th level, I only lasted a dozen breaths before I was blasted out. Duan Qing said with a wry smile. Lu Yun could not help but look at Duan Qing again. He had just tried to test it a little, but he did not expect that he had really guessed it right. The chubby boy in front of him was really a true Qi realm cultivator. Although the monsters in the Wanxiang Tower are evolved, their strength is not much different from that of real monsters, and there are more monsters than just one. Oh, Lu Yun asked in confusion, isn't it one-on-one? Haha, if it's only one-on-one, with my strength, I can definitely pass the 10th floor. The number of monsters on each floor of the Wanxiang Tower is uncertain. There may be only 1 or 100, but one thing is certain, the higher you go, the more terrifying they are, and the difficulty of passing the level is much higher than the previous level. After explaining, Duan Qing continued, every year when new disciples enter the academy, there will be a storm. Many of your new students have already passed the Wanxiang Tower and caused quite a stir. The most outstanding among them are Ma Yunfei, Xiao Chen and Bai Haoxuan. Hearing the names of these people, Lu Yun's pupils shrank slightly. Xiao Chen and Ma Yunfei are both top 5-star physiques, and Bai Haoxuan is the only 6-star physique. They are considered to be the most talented people in their class. Even if Lu Yun was a lazy person, he couldn't help but be curious about the 3 of them's achievements in the Wanxiang Tower. Looking at Lu Yun's expression, Duan Qing smiled slightly, not intending to tease Lu Yun's appetite, and said, among the 3, the most powerful one is Bai Haoxuan. He entered the Wanxiang Tower for the first time 10 days ago, rushed to the 7th floor in one breath, and defeated a 2nd-level peak monster before being blasted out. Although Xiao Chen and Ma Yunfei were a little behind, they also rushed to the 6th floor and defeated 9 and 7 2nd-level late-stage monsters respectively. Such records have surpassed many veteran elite disciples and caused a great sensation. Lu Yun's eyes flickered when he heard this. Half a month ago, Xiao Chen was only in the early stage of Tongmei realm. He entered the martial academy and received a reward. He could only cultivate to the middle stage of Tongmei realm at most, but he could rush to the 6th floor of Wanxiang Tower. Now he is also in the middle stage of Tongmei realm. If he cultivates the pure Yang True Qi to a small success, how many floors can he rush to? Are you tempted? Are you eager to go in and sprint to see how far you are from the top geniuses? Duan Qing smiled playfully. I was the same as you back then, but unfortunately he has long been a disciple of the Star Hall, while I am still wandering in the elite disciple sequence. Brother has been promoted to the Qi realm, I guess the 10th floor won't be able to hold you back for long. Lu Yun complimented him, then looked at the Wanxiang Tower. His temperament changed, and he suddenly became high-spirited. As for me, I am indeed a little tempted, and I want to see how powerful the monsters on the 6th and 7th floors are, and whether they can stop me. After leaving a sentence, Lu Yun quickly disappeared under Duan Qing's surprised eyes and rushed into the Wanxiang Tower. Lu Yun's voice just now was not small, and immediately attracted the attention of many people around him. Haha, this junior brother is so arrogant. He wants to pass the 6th or even 7th floor when he enters the Wanxiang Tower for the first time. Who does he think he is? It's normal. Most of the newcomers who have just entered the martial arts academy think they are geniuses. They can pass the Wanxiang Tower completely in 1 year, the 20th floor in 3 years, and the Wanxiang Tower in 10 years. But when they really enter the Wanxiang Tower and experience the abnormal strength of the monsters in person, they will realize the cruelty of reality and gradually accept their mediocrity. Listening to these mocking remarks, Duan Qing said lightly, "This junior brother Lu has a 5-star bone. Even if he can't pass the 6th floor this time, he can easily pass it next time." After hearing Duan Qing's words, those who mocked him before were stunned and speechless for a while, not knowing how to refute. They dared not refute. Who is Duan Qing? He is one of the heroes of the previous session. Now he has been promoted to the True Qi realm. It won't take long for him to go further and get rid of the status of elite disciples. From then on, he will become one of the disciples of the Xingqian Hall. As for some people with thin skin, they felt ashamed and lowered their heads in shame. Obviously, the 5-star root bones are the most talented in the martial arts academy. Instead of mocking others, it is better to see how others pass the level quickly, use it as a way to motivate yourself, work hard to improve yourself, and avoid the tragedy of being expelled from the martial arts academy in the future. While speaking, Duan Qing looked at the names on the Wanxiang jade wall, and his eyes narrowed into a thin line, but he couldn't block the brilliance revealed in them. The moment he entered the Wanxiang Tower, Lu Yun felt a trance, and the scene around him suddenly changed, and he reappeared in a space. This is a wilderness, the sky is dark, and the black clouds cover the sky and the earth. Only a few dozen feet can be seen. Lu Yun can clearly distinguish that this is the space of the Wanxiang Tower, and it gives him a feeling that is completely different from the outside world. My body has completely entered the Wanxiang Tower. If I guess correctly, there will be monsters. But, if I can't be the opponent of the monsters, what will happen in the end? Thinking of this, Lu Yun frowned slightly. Although he knew that there would be no accidents even if he failed, he still couldn't help but worry. After all, in the Wanxiang Tower, either the monsters died or the challengers died. How does the Wanxiang Tower ensure that the martial arts school disciples are not harmed? Or is the mystery of the spiritual weapon far beyond my cognition? At this time, Lu Yun suddenly withdrew from his thoughts and looked straight ahead. There were ripples like water not far away. Immediately, a huge blurry figure suddenly appeared in the darkness. Judging from its outline, it was much larger than the wild wolf he had killed in Yunmeng Mountain before. Lu Yun narrowed his eyes, gently pressed the handle of the knife with his right hand, and observed the black shadow with a high concentration. Whoosh! It was as if a gust of wind was whistling, and the figure of the black shadow was rapidly enlarged, and the outline and appearance completely appeared in Lu Yun's eyes. Silver white hair, scarlet eyes, strong and powerful limbs, huge body, this is a silver-haired wolf demon, flying towards Lu Yun at a rapid speed. The cold killing intent and powerful demonic energy made this silver moon wolf seem to be a real demonic beast, not an evolution from the Wanxiang Tower. When facing the momentum of a demonic beast for the first time, ordinary people would probably be frightened and unable to exert 80% of their strength on the spot. But Lu Yun was different. He had been to Yunmeng Mountain and killed wild wolves with his own hands. He also killed horse bandits on the way to Yunshui County. Although he was less than 11 years old at this time, he had the experience of fighting twice, and with 20 years of experience in his previous life, he was not afraid. Calming down his mind, the Gang Qi surged in his dantian, rushed through his meridians, circulated at the fastest speed, and gathered on the long sword. The sword came out, and the demon was slain. The energy was like an arrow, and the blade was like a silver moon. Boom! Lu Yun's powerful pure yang energy suppressed the silver moon wolf's energy, and the long sword swept past like a cold light, forcing it back dozens of feet. He had reached the limit of breaking through twice, and his explosive power and speed had made a qualitative leap. He moved slightly, and his feet seemed to flash like lightning. He caught up with the wolf in an instant, and the energy was added to the long sword, piercing it easily. The wolf howled miserably, turned into silver stars, and disappeared in front of Lu Yun. So that's it. Looking at the scene in front of him, Lu Yun showed a clear look. The monster evolved from the Wanxiang Tower is equivalent to an energy aggregation. It has the shape of a monster but no corresponding strength. For example, the evil spirit emitted by the wolf monster before was very weak and was easily broken, and it was not as fierce as imagined. It can be said that the strength of the monster in the Wanxiang Tower is much weaker than the real monster in reality. Especially for Lu Yun, who has made great progress in strength, it is like cutting melons and vegetables, and he doesn't need to be serious. He can easily solve it with a wave of his hand. Of course, this is only easy for Lu Yun. For other new disciples, the first level of the Wanxiang Tower is their bottleneck, which is extremely difficult. The strength of monsters is often much stronger than that of warriors of the same level. Even if the monsters in the Wanxiang Tower are energy aggregates, they are not something that ordinary warriors can deal with. If there is no powerful leapfrog ability or other means, there is only one result, being crushed by monsters. The only thing to be thankful for is that there will be no death in the Wanxiang Tower, so many disciples who are trying to rank in the tower will fight regardless of all consequences, greatly increasing the chances of winning. After blasting the Silver Moon Demon Wolf into energy, it didn't take long before a transparent wall suddenly appeared in front of him. This wall is somewhat familiar, and its shape is somewhat like the Wanxiang Jade Wall outside. The only difference is that there are no densely packed names on this transparent wall, only an instruction message. Pass the first level of the Wanxiang Tower and you will be qualified to leave your name. Lu Yun was silent, swung his long sword, and the aura burst out, colliding with the wall with a sizzling sound, and in an instant, the word, Lu Yun, was chiseled out. The handwriting was flowing like a dragon, and Lu Yun was very satisfied, and nodded unconsciously. After that, the handwriting on the wall changed, turning into a square font, and then an image of Lu Yun also appeared on the wall. It lasted for almost a breath, and the ripples on the wall flickered, and Lu Yun's name and image disappeared at the same time. Lu Yun was stunned. There is such an operation, it's too smart. It's worthy of the legendary spiritual weapon. Lu Yun was a little resistant to the Wanxiang Tower's private change of his very beautiful signature. But it was just resistance, and he didn't dare to show it. Who told him to be in someone else's body? At this moment, layers of vortexes appeared in front of him, like a door. Is this the entrance to the next level? Lu Yun muttered to himself, and his figure flashed, and he entered the vortex. Outside, there were many people standing in the huge square. Duan Qing, surprisingly, had not left yet, and his eyes fell on the top of the Wanxiang Jade Wall. That area is also part of the Wanxiang Jade Wall, responsible for recording the real-time dynamics of the Wanxiang Tower. For example, there is not much movement in the Wanxiang Tower, and the top 10 on the Wanxiang Jade Wall are displayed on it, which is in a static state. The reason why Duan Qing pays attention to this area of the Wanxiang Jade Wall is because he knows that this area will change soon. If there is a big movement in the Wanxiang Tower, or if a newcomer passes the first level for the first time and leaves his name and image, the information about the top 10 in this area will be replaced. However, the time for this information to stay is very short, almost only one breath. This person's information wants to continue to stay in this area, unless he can pass the level quickly and attract the attention of the Wanxiang Tower. It's moving. A disciple who was joining in the fun earlier, when he accidentally glanced at it, suddenly opened his mouth wide and his eyes almost popped out. Moved? What moved? The people on the side were a little surprised when they saw it, and then looked in the direction pointed by the man's finger in confusion, and their faces suddenly changed. Because at this time, a message had appeared in the inconspicuous area at the top of the Wanxiang Jade Wall. Congratulations to Lu Yun for passing the first floor of the Wanxiang Tower. Almost at the same time, a second message appeared. Congratulations to Lu Yun for passing the second floor of the Wanxiang Tower. They have all entered the Wanxiang Tower, and naturally know that they need to leave their names and images when passing the first floor, and this process will take some time. There are no such procedures in the Wanxiang Tower afterwards, except fighting. And Lu Yun, his information has just been recorded by the Wanxiang Tower, and then the information about passing the second floor of the Wanxiang Tower appeared. In other words, Lu Yun passed the second floor almost instantly. If I remember correctly, there are 10 first-level peak monsters on the second floor of the Wanxiang Tower. Yes, 10 first-level peak monsters are much more terrifying than 4 martial artists at the peak of the martial realm. Ordinary disciples in the early stage of Tongmei realm may not be able to deal with them. When I was promoted to Tongmei realm, I was blocked by the second floor. It took a lot of effort to defeat the 10 monsters and finally enter the third floor. Yes, I did the same. Several people nodded. The exclamation that followed made them gasp and become dumbfounded. Look, Lu Yun has passed the third floor of the Wanxiang Tower. A young man pointed at the Wanxiang Jade Wall and said with a shocked face. Everyone looked up and saw a shocking scene. Congratulations to Lu Yun for passing the third floor of the Wanxiang Tower. Those big words stood on the Jade Wall. The square fell into a dead silence. The martial arts disciples held their breath one by one, and the air around them seemed to stop flowing. Junior brother Lu Yun is so strong. Duan Qing narrowed his eyes and the brilliance in his eyes became stronger and stronger. There was no need to think too much. Just by the fact that Lu Yun passed the third floor of the Wanxiang Tower again in a few words, he could guess that Lu Yun was not just a breakthrough in the Tongmei realm. It depends on whether you can pass the 6th and 7th floors. If you succeed, it will be interesting. Duan Qing was very excited and looking forward to it. Inside the Wanxiang Tower, when he just entered the second floor, 10 monsters suddenly rushed out, which really startled Lu Yun. But after a closer look, they were actually all first-level peak monsters, so they were naturally easily dealt with by Lu Yun. The monsters on the third floor were stronger, and they were upgraded by more than 1 level, but they still did not cause much trouble to Lu Yun. He did not even use the pure Yang Gang Qi, and only relied on the third-rate wind-breaking swordsmanship to deal with 2 second-level early monsters. The first floor is a first-level peak monster, the second floor is 10 first-level peak monsters, and the third floor is 2 second-level early monsters. The degree of difficulty is constantly increasing. I just don't know what the strength of the monsters on the next floor is. Lu Yun shook his head slightly and entered the vortex portal leading to the next floor. The moment he entered the 4th floor, Lu Yun's first reaction was to check the surrounding environment. It was still a wasteland, with dark clouds covering the sky and a small visibility range. So far, the environment in the 1st to 4th floors of the Wanxiang Tower is like this. The empty space was extremely quiet, and the black fog was slowly floating, as if the entire 4th floor was moving slowly. Da. Lu Yun walked forward slowly for a few steps, and the crisp footsteps echoed in his ears. At this moment, in the darkness in the distance, a series of red lights like lanterns suddenly appeared, almost a dozen pairs. Lu Yun scanned with his eyes and held the hilt tightly with his right hand. Swish, swish, swish. The red lanterns seemed to have discovered Lu Yun, and almost at the same time began to move, approaching him at a high speed. After a while, the red lantern finally gradually became clear. A pair of scarlet and fiery eyes, as well as that huge body, exuded a powerful demonic aura. Monster. There were 15 monsters in the early stage of the second stage. Each of them was slightly stronger than the 2 in the third stage, and there were more of them, more than 7 times as many. If a general person in the middle stage of Tongmei realm encountered such a scene, he would probably be helpless. At most, he would risk everything and die with a few of them. But Lu Yun was different. Up to now, he had not really shown his strength. He was a little accomplished in pure Yang Gang Qi, and he himself had no idea what he could achieve after bursting out with all his strength. I hope you can hold on for a while. Looking at the dozens of monsters in the early stage of the second stage that were coming fiercely and majestically, Lu Yun's eyes were full of energy, his eyes flashed with brilliance, and a strong fighting spirit burst out. Sweep the army. Lu Yun snorted coldly, and the long sword was instantly unsheathed, and a cold light burst out. A crescent-shaped sword light burst out, and the slowly floating black mist around was directly cut open. The terrifying sword light slashed at the monsters rushing towards him. These 15 monsters were not only huge in size and strong in limbs, but also rushed forward like a huge army, with an extremely fierce momentum, giving people a feeling of invincibility. However, after being chopped down by the dazzling, almost extended sword light, they were instantly defeated. Lu Yun's figure flashed, and a sharp sword slashed at one of the monsters. Bang! The monster raised its strong front paws and collided with the long sword that slashed down. Crack! Blood was scattered everywhere, dyeing the dark mist red, and then it turned into dots of red light, embellishing the entire dark sky. After a successful attack, Lu Yun's feet were as fast as flying, and the sword light flashed. After the explosive power, strength and speed burst out, the whole person's momentum increased greatly, not inferior to the monster with demonic energy. Swish! The knife light tore through the darkness, spanning several feet, and landed heavily on another monster beast, instantly splitting it into dots of energy, which floated in the dark sky, adding a few more red lights to it, embellishing a strange black and red environment. Breaking all the mountains, sweeping the universe. The third-rate knife skills have reached the level of perfection in his hands, and are no weaker than the second-rate martial arts performed by others. One monster beast after another died from the sharp knife skills. After about half a cup of tea, there was no more monster beast in the 4th floor of the Wanxiang Tower. Lu Yun stood with a knife, his blood slightly agitated, and silently looked at the scarlet scene in front of him. The Wanxiang Tower is really not simple, the difficulty of the 4th floor alone has increased to this level. Lu Yun sighed slightly in his heart. He knew clearly that the reason why he killed dozens of early second-order monsters so easily was mainly due to his raising Hunyuan Gong to the realm of Dongzhen. His physical body almost broke through the limit twice, and his foundation was extremely strong, which made it seem relatively easy. However, it also shows the strict requirements of the martial arts academy for disciples. Without the strength of the middle or late stage of Tongmei realm, don't even think about passing the 4th floor of Wanxiang Tower. The 5th floor of Wanxiang Tower. There are only 5 monsters on this floor, but the demonic aura and pressure of these 2 monsters are several times stronger. This is a second-order middle-stage monster. One of the black bear monsters has a more terrifying aura and pressure, almost reaching the limit of the second-order middle stage. Lu Yun knew at a glance that this black bear monster alone could crush the 15 monsters on the 4th floor. In addition to the black bear monster, there are 4 second-order middle-stage monsters on the 5th floor that are not much inferior. It can be seen that it is not easy to pass the 5th floor. It seems that it is difficult to pass this level just by relying on the wind-breaking sword technique. The second-stage mid-stage monster is stronger than the second-stage early-stage monster in terms of strength and physical strength. The knife in his hand is the most common weapon, not much stronger than a kitchen knife. If it had not been used by Lu Yun, who used clever strength and protected it with the energy when fighting the monster, it would probably have been completely scrapped in the 1st or 2nd level. Glancing at the long sword in his hand, there was indeed a shallow crack. Weapons are also part of strength. It seems that I have to take some time to find a suitable weapon again. Lu Yun took back the energy wrapped in the long sword, and suddenly with a click, the long sword broke into 2 pieces and fell to the ground with a clang. He shook his head slightly and threw the other half of the blade aside. Lu Yun's mind moved, and a brilliant white light curtain spread all over his body, like the rising sun, illuminating the dark world. This is the nature of pure yang gang qi, which is extremely strong and yang, with pure power, giving people a sense of light and reliability. Roar! The black bear monster roared, and the broad and thick bear paw slapped out violently, with a powerful momentum sweeping out. The terrible force forcibly dispersed the black fog, and the remaining force continued to slap Lu Yun. After breaking the limit twice, Lu Yun's body was much stronger than that of his peers, about the same as a teenager of 14 or 15 years old, but at this time it was not much bigger than the bear paw. Facing the broad, thick and powerful bear paw, Lu Yun did not retreat, and also bombarded with a palm. Bang! The 2 palms faced each other, as if a sledgehammer and an egg collided. The sledgehammer is a real sledgehammer, unstoppable, but the egg is not a real egg. The powerful blood and the pure yang qi of the small success burst out at the same time. The extremely powerful force bombarded the black bear's huge body and also exploded out. A black mark appeared on the broad and strong bear paw. That was the mark left by the burning power of the pure yang qi. Roar! Feeling the severe pain from the bear's paw, the black bear waved his strong arms and slapped his chest hard. As it slapped, the hair on his body stood up, and the demonic aura and pressure emanating from his body became stronger, approaching the late second stage. Die. Next, Lu Yun shouted loudly, and the vast pure yang qi suddenly burst out like a big river. With this punch, he not only burst out the powerful power of his body, but also covered the pure yang qi on his fist, like a small sun. The terrifying fist was indestructible, unstoppable, and destroyed everything. Shoot the horse first when shooting people, kill the king first when killing monsters. Lu Yun naturally understood this, so he took the most powerful black bear monster as the first move. With the powerful force and blood bursting out, coupled with the power of pure yang qi, the black bear monster was killed by Lu Yun with one punch before it could completely go berserk. Then, he flashed to the side of another second stage mid-stage monster, and punched out with an unparalleled domineering fist. In a one-on-one situation, Lu Yun completely crushed it, with powerful force and domineering pure yang qi, and beat the monster to death. The second stage mid-stage monster was solved again, and Lu Yun's blood reached its peak, and his fighting spirit gradually reached its extreme. He looked at the remaining three monsters with sharp eyes. Too easy. Compared with the black bear that was infinitely close to the second stage late stage, the remaining monsters were too easy for Lu Yun to deal with. Sure enough, under such an absolutely overwhelming situation, Lu Yun only burst out 6 or 7 punches with all his strength, and then he blasted the remaining 3 second stage mid-stage monsters apart. After the battle, Lu Yun's blood was surging and his breathing was a little faster. It's not that the second stage mid-stage monsters are so weak, but Lu Yun is too strong. He took a slightly slow breath and looked at the vortex portal in front of him. He walked in without hesitation. As soon as he entered the 6th floor, 10 monsters appeared in front of him. Lu Yun's eyes flickered, and an unprecedented solemnity appeared on his face. The pressure emitted by these monsters is much stronger than that of the black bear monster on the 5th floor. There is no doubt that this is a second stage late stage monster. There are 10 second stage late stage monsters on the 6th floor of the Wanxiang Tower. Lu Yun took a deep breath and knew in his heart that the next battle would be a fierce battle. Although the level of the second stage late stage monster is equivalent to that of the warriors in the late stage of Tongmei realm. But its true strength is far from comparable to that of the warriors in the late stage of Tongmei realm. He is only in the middle stage of Tongmei realm now, facing monsters that are much stronger than warriors in the late stage of Tongmei realm, and there are as many as 10 of them. Even if he has a small success of pure yang qi as a trump card, he still doesn't have much confidence in his heart. Outside the Wanxiang Tower, many people, including Duan Qing, are paying attention to the Wanxiang Jade Wall. Especially after Lu Yun passed the 2nd and 3rd floors of the Wanxiang Tower in the fastest time, it caused a little sensation in the range. Those who just came out of the Wanxiang Tower or just arrived and were about to enter the Wanxiang Tower stopped and were ready to witness the rise of a new disciple. In fact, it was not only Lu Yun who had such treatment. The 3 people before, Bai Haoxuan, Xiao Chen and Ma Yunfei, had caused quite a stir. Especially after Lu Yun passed the 3rd floor, he passed the 4th floor at an extremely fast speed, attracting more people. Most of these disciples were disciples who had been trapped in the 6th and 7th floors of the Wanxiang Tower for a long time. If they could not continue to make breakthroughs, they would be expelled from the martial arts academy in a short time. Therefore, as long as they have a little breakthrough in strength, they will run to the Wanxiang Tower, hoping to reach a higher level. It is also because of this that they are most familiar with such grand events as the Wanxiang Tower, and they also like to join in the excitement. It's moving again. Everyone's eyes lit up, and they were extremely shocked when they saw the refreshed information on the Wanxiang Jade Wall. A small number of people acted even more exaggerated, as if they were Lu Yun. After seeing the news that Lu Yun passed the 5th floor again, Duan Qing was also slightly surprised. If I remember correctly, there are 5 mid-level monsters on the 5th floor of the Wanxiang Tower, and one of them is very close to the late 2nd level. But Lu Yun has only been half a cup of tea since he entered the 5th floor. In other words, Lu Yun passed the 5th floor of the Wanxiang Tower with an absolutely overwhelming strength. He showed an absolutely overwhelming strength against the mid-level 2nd level monsters on the 5th floor of the Wanxiang Tower. What level of realm has Lu Yun reached, and what level of strength has he reached? The more Duan Qing thought about it, the more frightened he became. You know, Lu Yun is a new disciple. This Lu Yun is really terrifying. It hasn't been long since he entered the Wanxiang Tower, and he has passed the first 5 floors of the Wanxiang Tower. When I was on the 5th floor, I used all kinds of means, and almost at the cost of my life, I finally killed the 5 monsters and passed the 5th floor. A martial arts academy disciple in the late Tongmei realm sighed. Only those who have entered the 5th floor of the Wanxiang Tower know how difficult it is. It has stuck many disciples in the middle and late Tongmei realm for a long time. If it weren't for the fact that no one would really die in the Wanxiang Tower, even fewer people would be able to pass. This is really the magic of the Wanxiang Tower. You say, did this junior brother Lu Yun end up like Xiao Chen and Ma Yunfei on the 6th floor, or like the 6-star root bone by Haoxuan, step into the 7th floor of the Wanxiang Tower? When everyone was shocked by Lu Yun's rapid passage through the 5th floor of the Wanxiang Tower, a more capable disciple suddenly spoke out loudly. As soon as this was said, it immediately aroused the interest of many people. One of the martial arts academy disciples who was at the peak of Tongmei realm said confidently, "Junior brother Lu Yun was able to pass the first 5 levels at such a fast speed, which undoubtedly proves that he has good potential and strength, but I am not very sure whether he can pass the 6th level." Indeed, geniuses like Xiao Chen and Ma Yunfei who have terrifying cross-level fighting abilities eventually lost in the 6th level, not to mention Lu Yun who was not very famous before. I also think that Lu Yun's chances of passing the 6th floor of the Wanxiang Tower are very small, unless he settles down for a while. Everyone echoed, and they all didn't believe that Lu Yun could pass the 6th floor of the Wanxiang Tower. Not to mention others, even Duan Qing, who had great expectations for Lu Yun, was not sure. The difficulty of the 6th floor of the Wanxiang Tower is not simply several times higher than that of the 5th floor, but more than 10 times higher. The 6th floor of the Wanxiang Tower. Lu Yun didn't have the leisure and elegance to join in the fun like the outsiders. He was struggling to deal with 10 second stage late stage monsters. It's worthy of the 6th floor where Xiao Chen also fought and sank in the sand. The difficulty of passing it is indeed high. Lu Yun had heard of Xiao Chen's record. He had killed a Tongmei realm when he entered the martial arts realm. He also had an outstanding talent in swordsmanship and the most powerful means of attack. Even such a swordsmanship genius didn't pass this floor, which shows how difficult this floor is. The gap between the 2nd stage mid-stage monster and the 2nd stage late-stage monster is too big, and there are 10 of them. If he only faced 1 or 2, Lu Yun estimated that he would only have to use some tricks. But if there were 10, Lu Yun was helpless. He was ready to take advantage of the situation to chase and kill one of the monsters first, but the other 9 monsters did not give him this opportunity at all, and swarmed over, forcing Lu Yun to give up. Alas, after all, I lack powerful means of attack. This time, Lu Yun did not hold back at all, and he also began to prepare to fight to the death. The 4 meridians burst out at the same time, and the vast and surging pure Yangqi was unscrupulously swayed. 10 late-stage second-order monsters attacked at the same time. Even though Lu Yun's pure Yangqi was strong, it was still stretched. But he was unwilling to give up easily and fall on the 6th floor of the Wanxiang Tower, so he kept wandering in the siege of the monsters, madly bursting out powerful qi, and attacking again and again. In the end, he even stopped dodging and retreating, exchanging injuries for injuries. After killing the 5th monster, he was already seriously injured, and his qi had been continuously consumed, and his body had a lot of burden. He still gritted his teeth and persisted, bursting out qi desperately. The 6th monster was killed, and the injury was even more serious. The 7th monster was killed, and Lu Yun could no longer stand steadily. The 8th monster was killed, and Lu Yun was completely exhausted. In the end, he could only watch the monster's strong and sharp claws attack him. At this moment, Lu Yun even felt his true death. But at the last moment, time seemed to stop instantly, a ray of light appeared around him, and then he felt a huge repulsive force appearing on him. Lu Yun opened his eyes and found that he was no longer in the Wanxiang Tower. At the same time, many people around him looked at him. He, junior brother Lu Yun, how does it feel to be dead? Duan Qing came over and looked at Lu Yun with curiosity. Lu Yun was silent, recalling the last scene in the Wanxiang Tower in his mind. It must be said that the Wanxiang Tower is really magical. At the last moment, he really thought that he would die under the claws of the monster, and even had the idea that he would really die in his heart. At that moment, he was really scared. Everyone is afraid of death, especially people like Lu Yun who have golden fingers. Fortunately, at the last moment, he was expelled from the Wanxiang Tower. But one thing is certain, everything he experienced in the Wanxiang Tower was real, and it was definitely not an illusion. What puzzled him was that although his injuries had recovered, the qi in his dantian was still exhausted. Looking at Duan Qing on the side, Lu Yun asked, "Brother Duan, do you know why our injuries were instantly recovered after we came out of the Wanxiang Tower? What's going on?" Duan Qing looked at the Wanxiang Tower with shining eyes and sighed, "The spiritual weapon has spirit. Everything in the Wanxiang Tower is manipulated and controlled by the tower spirit. Those monsters are transformed by the tower spirit with energy, so the monsters can at most seriously injure you, but cannot kill you. In addition, the tower spirit also has mysterious healing abilities. Those seemingly tragic injuries are just child's play for the tower spirit. Of course, these injuries are only for those monsters in the Wanxiang Tower that are transformed by energy." Lu Yun nodded slightly. Being able to have such a perverted ability is enough to prove the heaven-defying nature of the Wanxiang Tower. If other injuries can be recovered, then the Wanxiang Tower is not just a spiritual weapon. "Brother Lu, how many monsters did you kill on the 6th floor of the Wanxiang Tower?" Duan Qing suddenly asked. "I tried my best and only killed 8 monsters. I am really ashamed." Recalling his bold words before entering the Wanxiang Tower, combined with the current results, Lu Yun felt that he was too arrogant. Although a big reason for this was that he did not have the right combat martial arts and weapons. But failure is failure, Lu Yun has this awareness. Duan Qing smiled bitterly. "The first time I entered the Wanxiang Tower, I entered the 6th floor and killed 8 second-stage late-stage monsters. This achievement has ranked among the top 3 among all newcomers." Lu Yun shook his head. He had a panel and could use energy points to increase his cultivation progress. He barely ranked among the top 3 among the new disciples. How could this satisfy him? He looked up at the 108 people on the Wanxiang Jade Wall again, and there was no pride or satisfaction in his heart. "Junior brother Lu, you have passed the first 5 levels of the Wanxiang Tower, but you have gained a lot of contribution points. I wonder how you plan to distribute them." Duan Qing patted Lu Yun's shoulder with one hand, his eyes almost narrowed into a slit. "Contribution value." Lu Yun smiled bitterly. "If it weren't for my reminder, I would have almost forgotten about it." After that, he took out the identity jade card in his arms, and after checking it, his brows couldn't help but frown. Only 380 contribution points. Is the reward of Wanxiang Tower so small? This is already a lot. In the Martial Arts Academy, contribution points are very valuable. More than 300 contribution points can almost be exchanged for a good first-class martial arts. Duan Qing glared at Lu Yun and continued. "Like you have just entered the Martial Arts Academy not long ago, and there are not many people who have such a lot of contribution points." Lu Yun couldn't help but roll his eyes. He could only exchange for 1 martial arts, and it was a first-class martial arts. Duan Qing smiled indifferently. "Hee, I think junior brother Lu is good, so I might as well tell you a piece of news. In the Martial Arts Academy, only by transforming all resources into your own strength can you accumulate more resources." Lu Yun grinned, and he agreed with this very much. "I only have 1 first-class martial arts now, and it is not a combat martial arts. I am going to go to the Gongfa Pavilion to take a look. Brother Duan, are you willing to come with me?" "That's what I mean." Duan Qing agreed happily. He had just broken through the True Qi realm not long ago, and had not had time to start a new martial arts. Now Lu Yun's invitation was just what he wanted. Under the gazes of everyone, the two happily left the Wanxiang Tower. Until the 2 people's backs disappeared, everyone took a deep breath, looked at each other, and began to discuss. The content was nothing more than 2 things. One was to praise and admire Lu Yun for his achievement of the 6th floor for the first time he entered the Wanxiang Tower. The other was to say that Lu Yun was just a big talker, and his strength was just that. However, most people were the former. Those who mocked Lu Yun might not really be mocking him. Most of them were jealous in their hearts, so they had to say a few words to suppress Lu Yun. In the valley where the elite disciples lived, in one of the courtyards, a young man with an extraordinary face was sitting cross-legged and practicing with his eyes closed. From his body, not only did he radiate vast and amazing true chi fluctuations, but his momentum was also very huge. This young man was Bai Haoshuan, the only one among the new disciples of this year who had a 6-star root bone talent. His cultivation at this time had reached the late stage of Tongmei realm, and he had surpassed many veteran elite disciples. Finally, the 8th meridian was opened. Bai Haoshuan opened his eyes, exhaled like an arrow, and his breath was amazing. The reason why I was defeated on the 7th floor of the Wanxiang Tower last time was because I only opened up 7 meridians at that time. Now I have opened up another meridian, and my strength has increased a lot. I will definitely be able to defeat the 2 monsters if I try again after a while. Thinking of this, Bai Haoshuan showed a satisfied smile on his face. He believed that as long as he passed the 7th floor of the Wanxiang Tower, he would be able to completely distance himself from other newcomers and completely enter the sight of the martial arts academy's top leaders. Bang! Just then, a young man hurriedly pushed open the gate and rushed in. "You are so flustered, how can you be so unruly?" Bai Haoshuan scolded with an unhappy face, and then asked, "What happened?" The young man took a breath, sorted out his thoughts, and then said slowly, "Brother Bai, Lu Yun entered the 6th floor of the Wanxiang Tower and killed 8 monsters, second only to Xiao Chen." 6th floor. Bai Haoshuan couldn't help but roll his eyes at him, and said unhappily, "It's just the 6th floor, although it's not bad, but that's it, is it worth your fuss?" In his opinion, even if Lu Yun killed 8 monsters on the 6th floor, he was actually not as good as Ma Yunfei. Although Ma Yunfei only killed 7 monsters, you have to know that Ma Yunfei's results were 10 days ago. With Ma Yunfei's talent, if he enters the Wanxiang Tower again now, even if he can't pass the 6th floor, killing 8 or 9 monsters is not a problem. Lu Yun is naturally not as good as senior brother Bai, but he is definitely one of the top few among the many new disciples. He has great potential. You can consider trying to win him over. The young man explained. No need. People like him are arrogant and will not yield to others. There is no need to waste time on this. Bai Haoshuan paused slightly and continued. You reminded me well. People like Lu Yun are indeed worth paying attention to, but there is no need to spend time to win him over. You should win over those disciples with top 3-star physiques or ordinary 4-star physiques. They are at a level in the martial arts academy, which is not too high or too low, and it is easier to win them over. Hearing this, the young man's eyes lit up and said with admiration, "Senior brother Bai is still smart. We are far behind him." Bai Haoshuan turned a deaf ear to the young man's flattery and waved his hand and said, "Okay, go down." Not long after, Lu Yun and Duan Qing came to the Gongfa Pavilion. The Gongfa Pavilion is one of the important places in the Martial Arts Academy, and it is guarded by elders all year round. Are there new disciples? In the Gongfa Pavilion, an elder in a white robe glanced at Lu Yun's disciple uniform and said lightly, "Identity token." Newcomers need to register their information when they first come to the Gongfa Pavilion. Duan Qing had told Lu Yun this on the way. So Lu Yun took out his identity jade card as soon as possible. After the elder took Lu Yun's identity token, he didn't see him do anything and quickly returned it to Lu Yun. The elder glanced at Lu Yun and said lightly, "You are only in the middle stage of Tongmei realm now, so you can only enter the 1st floor of Gongfa Pavilion." Lu Yun nodded. Disciple understands. Disciples below the Junqi realm can only enter the 1st floor of Gongfa Pavilion. The 1st floor of Gongfa Pavilion, second-rate martial arts and first-rate martial arts, are just suitable for disciples entering the Wu realm and Tongmei realm to practice. The 2nd floor is all kinds of top-grade martial arts. As for the 3rd floor, it is no longer martial arts, but Gongfa. Gongfa is something beyond martial arts, and only places like Wuyuan can have it. In a small place like Yunshui County, the appearance of a Gongfa will definitely cause a huge sensation. Okay, you can go in. With the promise of the old man, Lu Yun and Duan Qing entered the Gongfa Pavilion. Brother Lu Yun, you killed 8 second-stage late-stage monsters on the 6th floor of Wanxiang Tower. I thought you were at least in the late stage of Tongmei realm, but I didn't expect you to be only in the middle stage of Tongmei realm. Duan Qing joked. Just a little luck. Lu Yun smiled faintly. Lu Yun's realm is very stable, and he has restrained his own aura very well. If it weren't for someone with a much higher realm than him, ordinary Qi realm warriors would not be able to see through his cultivation. It's normal that Duan Qing didn't know. Duan Qing smiled bitterly in his heart. If this is luck, then all the disciples of Wu Yuan rely on luck to pass Wanxiang Tower. Since Lu Yun's goal is the first floor of Gongfa Pavilion, and Duan Qing is going to the second floor, the two chatted casually for a few words and then separated. Entering the first floor of the Gongfa Pavilion, there were not many people, only a few disciples from the martial arts academy were seen, which made Lu Yun a little confused. Logically speaking, a place like the Gongfa Pavilion, which has many martial arts, should be as attractive to martial artists as the Wanxiang Tower. But the fact is the opposite. The Wanxiang Tower is very lively and often bustling with people. But the Gongfa Pavilion is deserted. Don't other disciples in the martial arts academy lack martial arts? Putting aside his doubts, Lu Yun took a deep breath and walked towards one of the bookshelves. There are many martial arts secrets on the first floor of the Gongfa Pavilion, densely placed on large bookshelves. It would take a lot of time to find a suitable one from such a large number of martial arts secrets. Lu Yun was not in a hurry and screened them one by one. Jingtao Fist, Heilong Palm, Function Leg, Quangfang Knife, Shadowless Instant Step, Meteor Butterfly Sword. All kinds of martial arts secrets dazzled Lu Yun. The Kung Fu Pavilion doesn't limit the time anyway, so I might as well just memorize the martial arts. After the panel is included, I won't have to spend contribution points. Thinking of this, Lu Yun's heart was moved. If this idea can really be realized, then he will make a lot of money. And he will never lack martial arts and skills in the future. Swish. Lu Yun picked up a martial arts book casually. The Sword of Turning Clouds and Rain. The sword is like white clouds, changing and invisible, and as powerful as a rainstorm, known for its strangeness and complexity. This is a first-class martial arts with average difficulty in training. With the mentality of giving it a try, Lu Yun started to look through it. Lu Yun was stunned. There was actually a forbidden power in this martial arts, making it impossible for him to continue reading. He didn't believe it, so he picked up a martial arts book again. He didn't even read the description of martial arts at the beginning, and directly read the content at the back. Undoubtedly, the result remains the same, impossible to flip through. Oh, what a pity. Lu Yun finally understood why there was no time limit in the Kung Fu Pavilion. For the martial arts in the Gongfa Pavilion, you can only read its basic description, but cannot view its content. In fact, it's normal to think about it. If the martial arts in the Kung Fu Pavilion can be browsed at will, then the redemption of contribution points will be meaningless. After the thought of gaining something unexpectedly was completely put to an end, Lu Yun finally calmed down and seriously chose martial arts. Half an hour later, it is indeed the Kung Fu Pavilion of the Martial Arts Academy. The martial arts here are not only vast, but also of various types, making it difficult to choose. After reading through a book of martial arts, Lu Yun couldn't help but sigh secretly. It's just that his current contribution value is only 380, and he can only redeem it for one martial arts, so he has to choose the most suitable one. Even though he saw several books that tempted him, he endured it. It would be nice if the contribution value was a little more. Lu Yun felt a little unwilling, and at the same time he became more and more yearning for the contribution value. Suddenly, Lu Yun's eyes were fixed on a martial arts on the bookshelf. The reason why he noticed this martial arts secret book was that its material was slightly different from others, and the pages were yellowed, making it appear older. Lu Yun stepped forward and picked up the yellowed martial arts book. He saw the 4 characters, 7 killing sword techniques, written on it. The 7 kill sword technique is a sword technique that uses killing to stop killing. This sword technique focuses on chopping, and relies on killing to support combat. The stronger the murderous intent, the greater the power, and the stronger the ability to fight at a higher level. Cultivate it to the extreme, and you can even comprehend the artistic conception of killing with the powerful and rich murderous aura. However, in order to cultivate it to the extreme, in addition to having the understanding of a monster, you also need a certain amount of opportunity. 7 killing sword techniques. Lu Yun murmured softly, the shocked look in his eyes difficult to conceal. If it weren't for the power of banning, he would have been eager to include it on the panel. Others may not be able to practice it to the extreme due to their understanding or fate. But Lu Yun is different. As long as he has enough energy, he can even reach a higher level. When he thought that he would be able to understand the meaning of killing, Lu Yun's eyes could not help but reveal a touch of heat. As long as you understand the artistic conception of killing. No, as long as you successfully practice the 7 killing sword technique and rely on killing to fight, you can easily kill the 10-second level late-stage monsters on the 6th floor of the Vientiane Tower. After confirming the 7 kills sword technique, Lu Yun no longer had any nostalgia for other martial arts and resolutely turned around and left the Kung Fu Pavilion. 7 killing sword techniques. Seeing the martial arts that Lu Yun brought out, the white-robed elder guarding the Kung Fu Pavilion frowned, but didn't say much. He is only responsible for guarding the Kung Fu Pavilion, and the choices of martial arts disciples have nothing to do with him. Identity token. Lu Yun also handed over the identity token. Immediately, he saw the white-robed elder glance at the identity token, nod slightly, and then enter the compartment behind him with the martial arts and identity token. After a dozen breaths, he walked out again, handed the martial arts and identity token to Lu Yun, and said calmly, "Within half a month, regardless of whether the cultivation is successful or not, it must be returned to the Kung Fu Pavilion." Disciple understands. Lu Yun responded, took the martial arts and identity tokens, and left directly. After leaving the cabinet, Lu Yun checked the martial arts and identity tokens one by one to see if there were any changes. First of all, only 30 of the original 380 contribution values on the identity token are left. Secondly, I don't know what method the white-robed elder used to remove the power of the seal in the secret book of 7 kill sword techniques. The 7 kill sword techniques can be read further. This method is quite good. Lu Yun flipped through the 7 killing sword techniques. Just after leaving the Kung Fu Pavilion, a round figure suddenly appeared, patted Lu Yun's shoulder with one hand, and complained, "Junior brother Lu Yun, you are finally out." Lu Yun closed the 7 kill sword technique in his hand, rolled his eyes at the other party angrily, and said, "Can you stop being so elusive, you almost scared me." Duan Qing smiled and looked restlessly at the secret book in Lu Yun's hand. "I see that junior brother Lu's face is red, but have you found your favorite martial arts?" "I'm lucky. Although it cost 350 contribution points, I am quite satisfied with this martial arts." While talking, Lu Yun was fiddling with martial arts, just in time for Duan Qing to see the words, "Chi Sha sword technique." Duan Qing slapped Lu Yun hard, and then said earnestly, "Junior brother Lu Yun, I don't know whether you should say you are unlucky or lucky that you chose this sword technique. What's wrong with the 7 kills sword technique? I think it's pretty good." Lu Yun replied nonchalantly. The 7 kills sword technique is indeed good. It can be said to be the best first-class martial arts in the first level of the Gongfa Pavilion. Having said this, Duan Qing paused and continued, "But it is also the most dangerous martial arts. When many talented disciples first entered the martial arts academy, they chose this one because of the powerful 7 kills sword technique. Martial arts. In the beginning, some people did get started with its cultivation, and by virtue of this, their own strength greatly increased, and they were even able to fight higher up and gain quite a reputation. However, because this sword technique is to kill to stop killing, and to kill to support fighting, it becomes more and more difficult to practice in the later stages. Most people have to give up practicing and switch to other martial arts. There are a few people with good talents, including many talented disciples with 6-star roots. They can continue to improve the 7 killing sword techniques and practice them to perfection. They are about to understand the legendary artistic conception, the artistic conception of killing. Quote. Hearing this, Lu Yun finally showed a look of anticipation, and asked curiously, "Has anyone successfully understood the artistic conception of killing?" Duan Qing shook his head and smiled bitterly. The 7 killing sword technique uses killing to stop killing and killing to support fighting. Murderous intent is its root cause. The more you kill, the stronger the murderous intent and the more terrifying the combat power. When the murderous intent accumulates to the extreme and transforms into murderous intent, the artistic conception will naturally appear. It's a pity that success is accompanied by murderous intent, and failure is accompanied by murderous intent. Anyone who has practiced the 7 kills sword technique to the level of Dacheng will eventually have the murderous intent backfire. At the least, he becomes possessed, and his meridians are disabled, and at worst, he dies. Quote. 7 kills, actually killing lives, killing bodies. With a sigh, Duan Qing said solemnly, Junior brother Liu, you must be cautious about this martial arts. Lu Yun didn't care about the dangers of practicing the 7 killing sword technique, but asked doubtfully, since this martial arts is so dangerous and no one has ever practiced it, why does the Martial Arts Academy put it in the Kung Fu Pavilion? Among them. Duan Qing explained, its existence is reasonable. The Martial Arts Academy should have its own considerations when placing it in the Kung Fu Pavilion. There are many reasons for testing the disciples' minds. The specifics are not something we can consider. Hearing this, Lu Yun nodded. Although Duan Qing's speculation is a bit one-sided, it also makes sense. The disciples trained by the Martial Arts Academy are not only high-level, but also strong-willed, and able to take responsibility for the choices they make, even if it is life or death. If you ignore the danger of the 7 killing swordsmanship just for the sake of powerful combat power, such a disciple, no matter how talented he is, will die for other reasons in the future. Junior brother Liu, I know you are a proud person, and you are also very confident in your talent, but I still have to say one thing in the end, the temporary strength is short-lived, and this short-lived strength is even very dangerous. That's all. This is Duan Qing's last advice to Lu Yun. Thank you, senior brother, I know my limits. Lu Yun responded, and then changed the subject without a trace. I saw that senior brother had a lot of body tempering pills last time, I wonder if there are any left now. Duan Qing was slightly stunned, then shook his head. Body tempering pills are only useful for warriors who have entered the martial realm. Junior brother is already in the middle stage of the Tongmei realm, and only Tongmei pills are useful. If junior brother needs it, I still have some left. Duan Qing had accumulated a lot of Tongmei pills in order to break through the Junqi realm. After breaking through the realm, there were still some left, and he was looking for an opportunity to deal with them. This time, I stayed to wait for Lu Yun, in addition to improving some relationships, and I also planned to deal with the remaining Tongmei pills. Tongmei pills are fine, but I only have 30 contributions left now. It's okay, I can give you the Tongmei pills first, and you can return them to me when you have contribution points. Is this okay? Others will definitely not do it, but with the relationship between me and junior brother Liu, it's naturally okay. After saying that, Duan Qing took out 2 porcelain bottles from his arms, narrowed his eyes, and smiled. For these 2 bottles of Tongmei pills, I will give junior brother Liu a favor price of 200 contribution points. Thank you, senior brother. Chapter 31. Lu Yun did not refuse Duan Qing's kindness, and did not even hesitate. If he still hesitated about such a good thing, he would be worse than an animal. Lu Yun despised those people who were worse than animals, so he would naturally not do such things. After parting with Duan Qing, Lu Yun read the 7 killing sword technique again. Although the 7 killing sword technique was a very powerful martial art, it did not contain much content, and Lu Yun remembered it deeply in his mind in just half an hour. Of course, it was also included on the panel. If he had not been discovered, he could even return it to the Kung Fu Pavilion now. After that, he went to the Internal Affairs Hall to exchange for a new weapon. The weapon was still a long sword. Although it was not a real weapon, it was forged from fine iron, and both the hardness and sharpness were far better than the one he brought out from Lingxi village. Back in the courtyard, Lu Yun took out the 2 porcelain bottles containing Tongmei Dan as soon as possible. Each secondary porcelain bottle contains 10 pills, a total of 20. I wonder how many energy points a Tongmei pill can provide me. Weighing the Hunyuan crystal clear pill in his hand, Lu Yun looked at it carefully, and a smile gradually appeared on his face. After a while, he put it into his mouth and swallowed it. Tongmei pill is indeed a more advanced pill than Quen-Ti pill, silky and smooth like jade, with an excellent taste. Not long after swallowing, the panel that had been silent for a long time began to move. +8 energy value. +8 energy value. Lu Yun swallowed 20 Tongmei pills without hesitation. Every time the energy value on the panel refreshed, he felt an indescribable sense of satisfaction in his heart. Finally, the 2 porcelain bottles became clean and were thrown into a corner by Lu Yun at will. At this time, his attention was on the refreshed panel. Name: Lu Yun. Faction. Filing Martial Arts Academy. Martial Arts. Pofeng Sword Technique Perfect. Cannot be upgraded. Hunyuan Gong Dongzhen. Cannot be upgraded. Pure Yang Gangqi. Minor success 1%. 7 Killing Sword Technique not yet entered. Root Bones. 5 stars. Martial Arts. Middle stage of Tongmei Realm. 4 meridians. Energy value. 163. The energy value increased by 160, and a new 7 Killing Sword Technique was added. Lu Yun was very satisfied with today's harvest. Passing through the first 5 floors of Wanxiang Tower, a total of 380 contribution points were obtained. Afterwards, he converted these contribution points into martial arts and weapons, which was very useful for improving his own strength, which was equivalent to indirectly improving his own strength. Therefore, Lu Yun also came to a conclusion that breaking into Wanxiang Tower is to improve strength. Of course, this strength is not instantly improved, it needs to be converted, and the panel is the key. Now, there are 2 martial arts that can be improved on the panel, Pure Yang Gangqi and 7 Killing Sword Technique. Pure Yang Gangqi is for the internal, and is the foundation of martial arts. 7 Killing Swordsmanship is for the external, and is the main guarantee of his strength. The importance of both is similar. Now that Pure Yang Gangqi has been slightly accomplished, it does not need to be improved for the time being. Let's get started. Lu Yun took a deep breath and directly invested 10 energy points into the 7 Killing Swordsmanship. Consume 10 energy points, and the 7 Killing Swordsmanship is upgraded to the entry level 1%. Suddenly, a cold and icy breath was born and released from his body, and then surrounded his body and spread. Although this breath is relatively thin, Lu Yun can clearly feel the bone-chilling coldness and chill. This is not the coldness caused by temperature changes, but the change brought by murderous aura. This murderous aura is very weak, but it is the first murderous aura born from practicing the 7 Killing Swordsmanship to the entry level, and it is the purest murderous aura. This purest murderous aura began to invade Lu Yun's body, which had no resistance. Cold, painful, trembling, every time the murderous aura invaded, Lu Yun could personally experience the excruciating pain. As the murderous aura invaded, his body was slowly adapting and the pain was slowly easing. At this time, a strange memory appeared in his mind. It was a figure who was completely black and whose face could not be seen clearly. He was wearing a bamboo hat and holding a knife. The red knife, the bleeding road, the corpses all over the ground, and the warriors slowly approaching from all directions. This scene only stayed for a moment and then disappeared, and another scene appeared again. In the dark rainy night, in the gray and black woods, a man and a knife slowly appeared in the field of vision. His cold and lonely figure gradually deepened in Lu Yun's mind, but he could never see it clearly. As the figure gradually approached, a memory like a cold and clear stream appeared in Lu Yun's mind, as if it was an innate memory, without the slightest abruptness. Consume 10 energy points, and the 7 Killing Sword skill is upgraded to entry level 51%. Consume 10 energy points, and the 7 Killing Sword skill is upgraded to minor success 1%. At the moment when the 7 Killing Sword skill was minor success, a stronger cold and chill attacked again, and after attacking Lu Yun for more than 10 breaths, his body gradually adapted to it. Then, a stream of information continued to appear in Lu Yun's mind, and he absorbed and digested it, such as how to mobilize murderous aura efficiently, how to reduce the harm of murderous aura to himself, how to use murderous aura to shock others, and even how to adjust true chi and murderous aura, etc. This information, like nutrients, was continuously absorbed and digested by Lu Yun, and finally buried deep in his flesh, blood, and bones, and completely became a part of him. At some point, Lu Yun slowly opened his eyes and exhaled like an arrow. As soon as his mind moved, a cold and gloomy breath appeared. Compared with the previous one, the murderous aura now became stronger and even more condensed. The moment it appeared, it almost condensed the surrounding air into ice. Although it was not as good as his pure Yang Gangqi. However, pure Yang Gangqi belongs to the most yang and the most rigid, while the murderous aura belongs to the icy cold. The effect of the murderous aura is not limited to the cold. Its greatest effect is to shock the will of the person being attacked, to give him a mental blow, and to make him lose the will to fight. Moreover, after practicing the 7 Killing Sword techniques, the murderous aura can be accumulated continuously, and killing can support killing, and fighting can support fighting. The more you kill, the more murderous aura you accumulate, and the stronger your strength will be. Lu Yun stood up and picked up the long sword he had just obtained. When he thought again, the light red murderous aura protected the blade, making the originally extremely cold blade even colder. Even because of the light murderous aura, the blade turned light red in an instant. Wow, Lu Yun exclaimed in his heart, this murderous aura can change so much, and it is only a small success level of murderous aura, which is much stronger than expected. However, the pain just now is really unbearable. If I hadn't remembered how to control and use murderous aura after the upgrade, I might not be able to stand here so safely. With the energy value increase, I don't even need to kill to accumulate murderous aura. This is too foul to practice. But it's good, so I don't have to run around too much. The energy value spent on upgrading the 7 killing swordsmanship from the entry level to the small success is about the same as the pure Yang Gangqi, which surprised Lu Yun a little. Looking at the remaining 133 energy points, Lu Yun didn't think much and started the second round of improvement. Name: Lu Yun. Force: Filing Martial Academy. Martial Arts: Po Feng Sword Technique Perfect, cannot be upgraded. Hunyuan Gong Dongzhen, cannot be upgraded. Pure Yang Gangqi Dacheng 34%, 7 kills Sword Technique Dacheng 1%. Root Bone, 5 stars. Martial Arts: Late Stage of Tongmei Realm, 8 meridians. Energy value: 0. I didn't expect that with so much energy, I could barely upgrade the 7 kills sword technique to the realm of great success. Seeing the refreshed panel, Lu Yun sighed slightly. He originally thought that at least 2 martial arts could be improved to the state of perfection, but the result was that the progress of pure Yang Gangqi was only improved to Dacheng 34% and the 7 kills sword technique could only barely reach Dacheng. At the same time, judging from the energy consumption, the 2 martial arts of pure Yang Gangqi and Qi Sha sword technique consume about the same amount at each level. From this aspect, the 2 martial arts are comparable to each other for the panel. Pure Yang Gangqi consumes 20 energy values from entry to completion, and 50 energy values are consumed to upgrade from small success to Dacheng. Later, another 33 contribution points were spent to increase it from Dacheng 1% to Dacheng 34%. In other words, to upgrade any one of the martial arts from Dacheng to the level of perfection, 100 energy points are needed. What about cultivating from perfection to a higher level? That's probably a huge amount of energy. Thinking of this, Lu Yun's original excitement due to the rapid improvement in strength could not help but cool down a bit. It seems that I have to find ways to earn contribution points. In Lu Yun's mind, the easiest place to earn contribution points is the Vientiane Tower. With his strength, he can easily pass the 6th level and obtain contribution points with ease. But since he had just come out of the Vientiane Tower not long ago, it was naturally impossible for him to go back again. That would be too stunning and high profile and could easily cause a strong sensation, which is not in line with Lu Yun's character. You have to think of other ways. Lu Yun rubbed his chin, thinking about whether there were other ways. Bang bang bang. Just then, a knock on the door interrupted his thoughts. With doubts, Lu Yun went to push open the courtyard door. When he saw the person outside the door, he was stunned. Although he is just a young man, his face looks somewhat mature. He has sharp eyebrows and starry eyes, and his face is as white as jade. His face has sharp edges and corners, and there is a cold feeling that repels people thousands of miles away. The pair of eyes looking at Lu Yun were like the radiance of the full moon, with a bit of annoying coldness and a bit of comfort. Judging from the feeling, Lu Yun neither dislikes nor likes him. Xiao, brother Xiao Chen. Lu Yun slightly cupped his hands as a greeting. Xiao Chen just nodded, looked away from Lu Yun, and sounded a slightly cold voice. Your strength seems to have improved again. It seems that you have gained a lot from the Vientiane Tower. Oh, Lu Yun frowned slightly and said, how did brother Xiao know that I had been to the Vientiane Tower? We met by chance on the road, but you didn't see me. Lu Yun nodded slightly. Neither of them seemed to be talkative people, they were just standing outside the door. You looked at me, I looked at you. Xiao Chen's eyes were very sharp, sometimes like a sharp sword, pushing away the layers of fog on Lu Yun's body. Lu Yun's eyes were very critical, and he was a little disgusted when he saw that face that was far more mature and handsome than his own. This guy, if his talent is better, he may not be able to become the protagonist of the legend. Lu Yun sighed in his heart, and then invited, "Since Brother Xiao is already here, you might as well come in and talk." "No need, I came to you this time just because I wanted to do it on the spur of the moment. Seeing that you have achieved a breakthrough in strength has strengthened my previous determination." Having said this, a smile suddenly appeared on Xiao Chen's face, and he chuckled, "Lu Yun, I have a mission here. I need a partner who has at least the strength of the late Tongmei realm. Are you willing to join?" Lu Yun looked strange when he heard this. He never thought that the other party came to him for this matter. In the Martial Arts Academy, all transactions are based on contribution value. If you want to obtain skills, martial arts, weapons, elixirs, etc., you need a lot of contribution points. There are many ways to obtain contribution points, such as entering the Vientiane Tower, completing martial arts academy tasks, etc. There are 30 floors in the Vientiane Tower. The higher the number of floors passed, the more contribution points you get. But the higher the level, the harder it is to get through. In some cases, it takes months or even years to pass one level. It can be said that obtaining contribution value through the Vientiane Tower is the easiest channel and the most difficult channel. On the contrary, because there are many tasks in the Martial Arts Academy, and there are tasks at different levels, the rewards for the tasks are not low for disciples at different levels. Therefore, the main channel for martial arts disciples to obtain contribution points is through completing tasks. The mission of the Martial Arts Academy is usually to kill monsters, deal with cult forces and people who collude with cults. Of course, some elders and disciples can also issue tasks in the task hall and ask for some things they need, including elixirs, labor, etc. Most new disciples gain contribution points by taking on these tasks. After all, new disciples are generally of low strength, and it is highly dangerous to take on tasks such as those who kill monsters and deal with cults. Instead of giving up your life in vain, these low-level tasks with low contribution value are the best choice. After hearing Xiao Chen's words, Lu Yun's first thought was these low-level tasks. But the other party's next sentence stunned him again. "This is a yellow-level task. If you complete it successfully, each person will have 500 contribution points." Xiao Chen looked at Lu Yun indifferently, with an indifferent look, as if he knew that Lu Yun would not refuse. 500 contribution points, not much, just equivalent to the contribution points obtained through the 6th floor of the Wanxiang Tower. Generally, the tasks accepted by new disciples are at most dozens or hundreds of contribution points, and it takes a long time to complete. And the task that Xiao Chen accepted was a yellow-level task, and the reward was 1,000 contribution points. "Why choose me?" Lu Yun looked serious. Hearing this, Xiao Chen's smile became more obvious. Since Lu Yun asked this, he must have had an intention. "First, I need someone who is as strong as me. In this way, even if I encounter danger, I will not fail the mission because of the burden, and my safety is guaranteed. Second, I have met you a few times and am barely familiar with you. Apart from you, there is no one else in the Martial Arts Academy who I can consider as acquaintance. Finally, and most importantly, I like you." After saying that, he held the sword, put his hands around his brother, and had a calm smile on his face. Lu Yun smiled faintly. "Compared with others, you look more pleasing to the eye. Of course, you have to put away your cold attitude that keeps people away from you." "Okay, I'll try my best." The two smiled at each other. According to the intelligence of the mission, our target this time is a base of the White Lotus sect in Qingyan County. Although the highest realm is only the peak of the Tongmei realm, due to the large number of people, I am not 100% sure alone. After Lu Yun did not object, Xiao Chen directly told the content of the mission. "Do you need to make other preparations?" Lu Yun said. Xiao Chen touched the blue sword in his hand and said lightly, "1 sword per person." "Okay, wait a moment." After speaking, Lu Yun turned and went in. After a few breaths, he came out again. However, compared with before, there was an extra knife on his body. After leaving the valley where the elite disciples lived, the two reported to the Internal Affairs Hall of the Martial Academy. Martial Academy disciples need to report when leaving the Martial Academy. Lu Yun and the others had to leave because of the mission, and the elders in charge of the disciples' affairs did not ask, but simply made a simple registration. Qingyan County is one of the 13 counties under Lingwu County. It is located south of the county city and north of Yunshui County. Although it is not very far, it still takes more than half a month. In order to hurry, the two of them first went to the county town to buy 2 horses, and then they set off. It took about 10 days. Lu Yun and Xiao Chen finally arrived in Qingyun County. Like Yunshui County, the highest official of the court here is the county magistrate. As soon as they entered the county town, they went straight to the county government office. After showing their identity tokens, the doorkeeper was immediately shocked and woke up, and immediately invited Lu Yun and Xiao Chen in. Just after entering the government office, before they sat down, the Qingyun County magistrate came out to meet them. I am Zhao Wuji, and I have not yet asked for the names of the 2 martial arts academy geniuses. Filing Martial Academy Xiao Chen. Filing Martial Academy Lu Yun. Lu Yun and Xiao Chen bowed at the same time. While speaking, Lu Yun also looked at the Qingyun County magistrate in front of him. On the way here, Xiao Chen told Lu Yun all the information related to the secondary task, including the Qingyun County magistrate, the county lieutenant, and the family power of Qingyun County. Zhao Wuji, a member of the Zhao family of Gusu County in Lingzhou, is now in the late stage of the True Qi realm. 5 years ago, he was appointed as the county magistrate of Qingyun County. Under his drastic reform, Qingyun County changed the situation of numerous mountains, and even the families that were fighting endlessly before stopped fighting and lived a stable life. It must be said that Zhao Wuji has made great efforts to maintain such a peaceful and stable situation in Qingyun County. In this regard, Lu Yun also secretly admired the other party's skills. It is impossible not to be convinced. It is difficult for a strong dragon to suppress a local snake. Even if it is a big family in the county city, it is not easy to open up the situation in an unfamiliar place. However, Zhao Wuji was able to suppress all forces, as stable as Mount Tai, and govern Qingyun County obediently, which is admirable. When Lu Yun was looking at Zhao Wuji was also looking at Xiao Chen and Lu Yun. Both Xiao Chen and Lu Yun looked too young, even though they looked much older than their actual age for some reason. Xiao Chen was better. His cold temperament made him look a little more mature. And Lu Yun, although tall and strong, could not hide the immaturity on his face. After just a moment of observation, Zhao Wuji retracted his gaze, smiled, and laughed. It turned out to be Mr. Xiao and Mr. Lu from the Martial Academy. It is an honor for Qingyun County and for me that you two can condescend to come here. Let's do this. The 2 gentlemen have worked hard all the way. I will set up a banquet in Mingyu Tower to entertain you two. After that, he called out to the outside of the door, come here. Sir. The servant outside the door responded and came in. Notify Mingyu Tower to host a banquet tonight. I will entertain the 2 young geniuses from the Martial Academy. No, junior brother Lu and I have important matters to attend to. We cannot afford to delay for a moment. We are here to understand some situations. Of course, we also need some help from Qingyun County. Xiao Chen stopped the attendant who was about to leave and turned to Zhao Wuji. If this matter was not special and involved a wide range of people, he and Lu Yun would have gone to their destination. He had no intention of dealing with Zhao Wuji, a veteran official. Hearing this, Zhao Wuji frowned slightly, and the smile on his face faded a little. He said sincerely, since you two have important matters, you can't delay. I just don't know if there is anything I need. If so, I will do my best to cooperate. Seemingly very satisfied with the other party's attitude, Xiao Chen's cold face was restrained a little, and he said lightly. According to the intelligence description of the academy, the White Lotus sect has been very active in recent days, especially in Qingyun County, and has frequently linked up with those mountain bandit forces, and it is even very likely to develop it into a stronghold. Ha! Zhao Wuji's forehead was almost twisted into a river shape. There is such a thing, and I have never noticed it. The White Lotus sect acts secretly, and it is normal for Lord Zhao not to notice it for a while, but since I let the Martial Arts Academy know its whereabouts, let it be destroyed in the bud. At the end, Xiao Chen's handsome face rarely showed a hint of murderous intent. Although this murderous intent was fleeting, Lu Yun still noticed it. After he had mastered the 7 killing sword technique, his control and use of murderous aura was further improved, and he was more sensitive to killing intent. Naturally, he could easily detect Xiao Chen's fleeting killing intent. This guy has a story. Lu Yun glanced at Xiao Chen inconspicuously, and his face looked strange. At the same time, a love-hate story with hundreds of thousands of words appeared in his mind. Zhao Wuji's smile disappeared completely, and his face became solemn. Since it is the intelligence of the Martial Arts Academy, it must be true. After saying that, his face became serious. Come here. What do you want, sir? The servant who was stopped by Xiao Chen just now stood up at the right time. Pass on my order and ask Captain Wang to come here immediately. Yes. The servant took the order and left. After the servant left, Zhao Wuji smiled again. 2 young masters, please follow me to the inner hall. When Captain Wang arrives, let him tell you about the situation of the mountain bandits in Qingyan County. Okay. Not long after, in the inner hall of the government office, a tall, serious-looking, middle-aged man who looked a little older stepped in with a sword. Lord Zhao, Captain Wang is here, please take a seat. Captain Wang nodded slightly to Xiao Chen and Lu Yun and sat down dignifiedly. Zhao Wuji then introduced. This is our Captain Wang from Qingyan County, who is steady and experienced. He then said, these 2 are the geniuses from Filing Martial Academy, Master Xiao and Master Lu. They came to Qingyan County this time for the White Lotus sect, and they may need your help. Master Xiao, Master Lu, if you have anything you need to know, you can ask Captain Wang. After getting Zhao Wuji's assurance, Xiao Chen and Lu Yun also cast their eyes on this Captain Wang. When the other party just came in, Lu Yun felt a strong murderous aura, from which it can be seen that this Captain Wang has a lot of blood on his hands. What surprised Lu Yun was that the murderous aura of the other party was quite chaotic, and it gradually dissipated around Captain Wang. If Captain Wang stopped killing people, the murderous aura on him would completely disappear in 3 to 5 years. Of course, this was just Lu Yun's inference. Xiao Chen bowed slightly. Captain Wang. Mr. Xiao, you are too polite. Captain Wang hurriedly returned the greeting. I don't know what Mr. Xiao wants to know, you might as well say it directly, and I will tell you everything I know. Although the boy in front of him was just a young boy, he did not despise him at all. Not to mention that there was a faint breath of danger when he stood in front of the other party. The most important thing was that the other party was a disciple of the Martial Arts Academy. The identity of a disciple of the Martial Arts Academy was enough to make many people fear and respect him. Thinking of this, Captain Wang dared not to underestimate the other party more and more. Xiao Chen asked, our Martial Arts Academy discovered that the White Lotus sect and the mountain bandit forces in Qingyan County have been linked again, and have established a base. I hope that Captain Wang can introduce all the information about the mountain bandit forces to us. White Lotus sect. Captain Wang showed a trace of fear on his face, and his face gradually became solemn, and then he seemed to be lost in memories, and he slowly spoke after a long time. Since Lord Zhao took the post of county magistrate of Qingyan County, he has made drastic reforms, and the gangs in Qingyan County have been eliminated one after another. As for which mountain bandit forces have ceased to fight and fled into the deep mountains and old forests. Subsequently, the city guards continued to encircle and suppress, and with no other source of income, most of the mountain bandit forces have been eliminated. Nowadays, there are still 3 mountain bandit forces of scale, namely Black Tiger Village, Black Wolf Gang and Bayan Villa. Xiao Chen and Lu Yun sat there, listening to Captain Wang's words. From the other party's mouth, it can be seen that he highly respects Zhao Wuji, the county magistrate, and also got some information. After the other party finished speaking, Lu Yun asked, Bayan Villa, this doesn't sound like a bandit force, right? The predecessor of Bayan Villa was Bayan Village. Since there was a second in command, it was renamed Bayan Villa not long after, and the second in command became the owner of the villa. Captain Wang had just finished speaking when Zhao Wuji took over. Bayan Villa has not been engaged in robbery and road robbery over the years. It has gradually gotten rid of its identity as a bandit and started to run its own industry. Now it is considered a part of the county and should have little to do with the White Lotus sect. But the Black Tiger Village and the Black Wolf Gang need to be investigated carefully. If they are really involved in the White Lotus sect, this official will definitely kill them without mercy. This Bayan Villa is quite interesting. Lu Yun stroked his chin and thought to himself. In his opinion, Bayan Villa must be unusual, especially the new second in command. However, Zhao Wuji was not wrong. Bayan Villa has now gotten rid of its identity as a bandit. According to the intelligence of the Martial Academy, the Black Tiger Village and the Black Wolf Gang, these two mountain bandit forces, are more likely to be the bases of the White Lotus sect. It is the mission of my junior brother Lu and I to verify and eliminate the White Lotus sect bases in Qingyan County. Lord Zhao, don't worry. Xiao Chen said lightly. Well, since it is a trial mission of the Martial Academy, I naturally dare not interfere too much, and with the strength of Master Xiao and Master Lu, there will be no problem in dealing with it. At the end, Zhao Wuji praised Lu Yun and Xiao Chen without leaving any trace. In fact, what he said was true. Not everyone in the Martial Academy can accept the task of dealing with evil cult forces. Without sufficient strength, you can only stay in the Martial Academy obediently and slowly accept those low contribution tasks. If it is not necessary, you will not even let go of the gate of the Martial Academy easily. After all, those who can enter the Martial Academy are all talented people. If they grow up, they can hold a good position whether they enter various institutions of the court or enter the army. Where are the Black Tiger Village, Black Wolf Gang, and Bayan Villa? The Black Tiger Village and Black Wolf Gang are both in the Qingyan Mountains in the east, and Bayan Villa is about 30 miles away from the west gate of Qingyan County. This time it was Captain Wang who answered. Located in two opposite directions, this is a bit troublesome. Xiao Chen frowned slightly. At this time, Zhao Wuji suddenly said, although this is a trial mission of the Martial Arts Academy, this happened in the territory of Qingyan County. Naturally, I can't just sit there and watch. It's okay to provide some simple help. After speaking, he looked at Captain Wang and ordered, Mr. Xiao and Mr. Lu are in Qingyan County for the first time. They are not very clear about some places. Captain Wang will lead the way for the two young masters. Okay, thank you, Mr. Zhao. Xiao Chen did not refuse Zhao Wuji's proposal. They really needed someone who was familiar with the Qingyan Mountains on this trip. If he and Lu Yun were to find it themselves, it would take who knows when they can find the Black Tiger Village and the Black Wolf Gang. It's getting late today. If we set out now, it will be completely dark before we reach the Qingyan Mountains. The two gentlemen should rest for a night and set out tomorrow. Xiao Chen and Lu Yun looked at each other, nodded, and then said, okay, let's set out early tomorrow morning. Although it was the first time for both of them to carry out a mission, they were not rookies who knew nothing. Not to mention that they were not familiar with the Qingyan Mountains, just the long journey consumed a lot of their true energy. If they are not in their peak condition, it may not be so easy to complete the mission if they really encounter the White Lotus sect's base. That's it. Xiao Chen and Lu Yun were arranged to stay by Zhao Wuji. Originally, Zhao Wuji wanted to hold a banquet for them at Mingyu Tower, but was rejected by Lu Yun. The mission of the two of them must be low-key. Otherwise, if the White Lotus sect finds out and secretly moves their base, then their mission will end in vain. The two gentlemen, have a good rest, see you tomorrow morning. After arranging Xiao Chen and Lu Yun's accommodation, Captain Wang took his leave and left. After Captain Wang left, only Xiao Chen and Lu Yun were left. After closing the door gently, Lu Yun smiled and said, Brother Xiao, what do you think about tomorrow's trip? No matter what, tomorrow's trip to Qingyan Mountains will not be fruitless. Do you think that the Black Tiger Village or the Black Wolf Gang has some connection with the White Lotus sect, or even one of the White Lotus sect's bases? It's not impossible, and even if they have nothing to do with the White Lotus sect, what can they do? As disciples of the Martial Academy, even if we can't enforce justice, it is our duty to solve some mountain bandits who are harming the people of the Yuan dynasty. Xiao Chen slowly walked to the window, looked at the silver moon that was slowly rising, and fell into deep thought. The bright silver light fell on that somewhat cold face, making the coldness of his whole body become more and more obvious. Have a light night's rest. The sky was hazy, so Lu Yun got up early. Although he has a faceplate, he still adheres to the training philosophy of practicing Sanju in winter and Sanfu in summer. Practice makes perfect after repeated practice. After finishing his morning practice, Lu Yun opened the panel. Name: Lu Yun. Force: Filing Martial Academy. Martial Arts: Po Feng Sword Technique Perfect, cannot be improved. Hunyuan Gong Dongzhen, cannot be improved. Pure Yang Gangqi Dacheng 36%. Kushao Sword Technique Dacheng 1%. Root Bone, 5 stars. Martial Arts: Late Stage of Tongmei Realm, 8 meridians. Energy Value: 2. After leaving the Martial Arts Academy, the progress of pure Yang Gangchi cultivation increased by 2%, and the energy value also accumulated by 2 points. It has to be said that although the progress of cultivation is a bit slower, there is a faint smile on Lu Yun's face. Being able to achieve such a progress in cultivation proves that even if he does not rely on the panel, his cultivation talent is still not low. Suddenly, his ears twitched slightly and he looked outside the door, where figures were moving. He stood up and opened the door, just in time to see Wang Captu coming with a knife. At the same time, Xiao Chen in the next room opened the door and walked out. You two young masters got up very early. Seeing Lu Yun and Xiao Chen going out at almost the same time, Wang Captu's expression was startled, but he soon returned to normal. It's quite early for Wang to catch the head. Lu Yun smiled slightly and his eyes fell on the package Wang Captu was holding in his right hand. These are some breakfast snacks I brought at the market. You two gentlemen, just settle down and let's set off. While speaking, Wang Captu opened the package, revealing some exquisite and beautiful pastries and fragrant fruits. Xiao Chen said, Wang Captu is interested, but it's getting late now, let's leave early. Oh, Mr. Wang suddenly froze, not knowing where to put the things in his hands. Wang Captu, we martial arts practitioners can survive without eating for a day or two. The most important thing now is to set off in time to avoid wasting time. Lu Yun explained at this time. Master Lu Yun is right. Wang Captu agreed with a smile. Under the leadership of Wang Baotou, the three of them rode out of the county and headed towards the Qingyan Mountains. More than an hour later, the Qingyan Mountains appeared in front of us. The Qingyan Mountain Range and the Yunmeng Mountain Range are both branches of the 100,000 Mountains, and there are many high-level monsters in their depths. Fortunately, both the Black Tiger Village and the Black Wolf Gang are only on the outskirts of the Qingyan Mountains. Otherwise, I would not dare to lead you here even if Mr. Zhao had orders. Quote. Wang Baotou, who was driving the horse in front, said with lingering fear. He knew at a glance that he was very afraid of the Qingyan Mountains. I don't know what's going on with Lingxi Village now. When Wang Baotou mentioned the Yunmeng Mountains, Lu Yun thought of Lingxi Village. It was the place where he first arrived, and it was also his first home. It was where he was bound. Junior brother Lu, the monster is the second enemy of our great Yuan dynasty. Now it has entered the Qingyan Mountains, so be careful. Xiao Chen, who had been silent all this time, suddenly spoke up. Lu Yun nodded. During these days in the martial arts academy, he had not only improved his strength, but also his knowledge of the Yuan dynasty. If the cult forces of the Scarlet Moon Demon sect and the White Lotus sect are the enemies of the Yuan dynasty, then the monsters are the enemies of all humans. You two gentlemen, the mountain ahead is the home of Black Tiger Village. Let's be careful next time, Wang Baotou said, pointing to a barren mountain with rugged rocks. Then, the three of them groped towards the barren mountain. Half an hour later, they saw a mountain village in the distance. The Black Tiger Village is not large, but it is surrounded by steep and difficult cliffs. There is only one road up the mountain. The terrain is excellent, easy to defend but difficult to attack. It can be said that one man can guard the gate and 10,000 men cannot open it. But this is for ordinary people. Among the three, Wang Baotou, the weakest, is in the middle stage of Tongmei realm, so it is easy to go up the mountain. Arriving halfway up the barren mountain, the road here was impossible for horses to travel on, so Wang Captu turned over and dismounted. Looking at a small black spot on the top of the mountain, Wang Captu said, there is a lookout in Black Tiger Mountain Village, which is always guarded. If we go up the mountain from this road, we will definitely be discovered. Then the bandits will use bows from above. If the crossbows attack us, even if we are not low in cultivation, we will not be able to withstand them. It's very simple, just feel your way up from the side. Yeah, sure. After saying that, Xiao Chen and Lu Yun also dismounted from their horses, tied their reins to the big tree, and headed towards the left side of the barren mountain together. Wang Captu also quickly followed. This steep wall that is difficult for ordinary people to climb could not stop Lu Yun and the others, and soon they reached the top of the mountain. Perhaps they felt that the terrain of Black Tiger Village was very superior. Even if Qingyan County sent a large army, they could not attack the mountain for a while, so the defensive force was very weak, with only 4 minions on duty. With a flash of their bodies, Lu Yun and Xiao Chen dispatched several minions stationed outside the gate of Black Tiger Village. Black Tiger Village is not so much a village as a group of houses built with rocks and wood, standing on the top of a barren mountain. After solving the defensive force and entering the gate, Lu Yun and the others shuttled through the village with ease, as if they were in an uninhabited land. It's not that they are extremely skilled, but the defense of Black Tiger Village is indeed too lax, as if there is no threat from external enemies. Along the way, Lu Yun completely eliminated the suspicion of this Black Tiger Village. If a place like this is also one of the strongholds of the White Lotus sect, then it can only be said that the Yuan dynasty court was too corrupt. Even such a White Lotus sect is too corrupt. It cannot be eradicated completely. Soon, they arrived outside a slightly crude lobby. The first thing that catches the eye is a gray-brown plaque. I don't know how many years it has been placed on the gate. It looks a bit gray and old, but the 3 large characters on it are very conspicuous. Loyalty Hall. Seeing these 3 words, Lu Yun was slightly stunned. It was not for any other reason, but because these 3 words looked too familiar, reminding him of the watery Lengshan in his previous life. However, compared with Shuibo Lengshan, this Black Tiger Village is really far behind. No matter which aspect. Inside the Loyalty Hall. At this time, almost all the bandits in Black Tiger Village were gathered together, seemingly having a meeting. Located at the top of Zongyi Hall is a wooden chair with a black tiger skin covering it, and a burly man with a strong body is sitting there. Different from the shabby clothes worn by other bandits, this burly man was dressed in intact silk and satin, with a tiger skin coat on the outside. A long knife with a cold light was placed next to the wooden chair. This is the leader of Black Tiger Village. He sat there without saying a word, and his powerful aura emitted, making the bandits in the Zongyi Hall dare not even take a breath. Humph, keep arguing. The leader of the Black Tiger Village snorted coldly, and the atmosphere in the Zongyi Hall became more depressed and silent. The gangsters lowered their heads, not daring to look directly into the eyes of the leader of the Black Tiger Village. Master, a big demon from the depths of the Qingyan Mountains suddenly came out of the mountain a few days ago. All members of the Black Wolf gang, from the gang to the ordinary members, died. This is indeed a fact. No wonder everyone is worried. The person who spoke was a middle-aged man who was also wearing silk and satin. He was the number 2 person in the Black Tiger Village. At this time, he was the only one who dared to look directly at the leader of the Black Tiger Village. The rest of the gang are just short-sighted, but you, the military advisor. Before the leader of Black Tiger Village finished speaking, the military advisor interrupted him and continued. The leader of the village has misunderstood. I very much agree with you to integrate the territory of the Black Wolf gang. Only in this way can we strengthen the power of our Black Tiger Village. However, in order to avoid something like the Black Wolf gang from happening again, we must also guard against the monsters deep in the mountains. Quote. Oh, the leader of Black Tiger Village focused his gaze and said with a smile, if the military advisor has any suggestions, please speak up and listen. The military advisor unfolded his folding fan, and the gods and demons smiled unpredictably. It's not so much about defense, but... Boom. At this moment, the sound of a broken door interrupted the military advisor's words. The person who broke in was none other than Lu Yun, Xiao Chen and Wang Baotou. The moment he saw Lu Yun and the others, the leader of Black Tiger Village was startled, and his strong hands immediately grabbed the broadsword flashing with cold light beside him. He didn't know Lu Yun and Xiao Chen, but he had dealt with Wang Baotou a lot, so he was an old acquaintance. However, after a few breaths, Xiao Chen, Lu Yun and Wang Baotou were still the only ones entering the Zongyi Hall. After there were no other people, the leader of the Black Tiger Village gradually became relieved. Wang Baotou is only in the late stage of Tongmei realm, and his strength is not much better than him. Moreover, this is his territory, not the county town. Wang Baotou has no other agents to help him, so he will naturally not take him seriously. As for Lu Yun and Xiao Chen, in his opinion, they are just 2 young children. Wang Baotou, long time no see. Why did you suddenly come to our Black Tiger Village today? When the leader of Black Tiger Village saw Wang Baotou, his tiger eyes glared and his voice was not friendly, but he did not take action immediately. To be honest, Wang Captu's sudden appearance here was a bit unexpected. In addition, he was not sure how Wang Captu appeared here. Although the security of Black Tiger Village was somewhat lax, it was not so easy to deal with the guards of Black Tiger Village without them noticing. In addition, he didn't know if anyone else went to Black Tiger Village with Wang Kaptu, which was why he didn't take action immediately. That's the leader of Black Tiger Village, Song Qing. He has cultivated in the late stage of Tongmei realm for a long time. In addition, he has a lot of brute strength. Most people are no match for him. Wang Kaptu whispered to Lu Yun beside him. He introduced it to Xiao Chen and completely ignored the gangsters in Zhongyi Hall who were eyeing him. He is really the leader of the Song dynasty. If there is another military commander Wu, then the Zhongyi Hall will be worthy of its name. As he spoke, Lu Yun walked step by step towards Song Qing, the leader of Black Tiger Village. Song Qing didn't pay much attention to Lu Yun, a young man who looked very ordinary. Instead, his attention fell on what Lu Yun said. Do you still know military advisor Wu? Song Qing cast his eyes in the direction of military advisor Song and found that the other party also had a confused look on his face. What does the village master and me have to do with whether Zhongyi Hall is worthy of its name? And how did the other party guess that there was a military advisor like me in Black Tiger Village? Is it really such a coincidence that you have military advisor Wu here? Lu Yun walked straight towards Song Qing, the leader of Black Tiger Village. A suspicious look flashed in his eyes, but his footsteps did not stop at all. Stop, how can you offend the leader of the village? One of the bandits stood up and shouted loudly. Snort. Lu Yun snorted coldly, his cold eyes fell on him, and suddenly a real murderous aura appeared. This bandit was not much stronger than ordinary people. How could he withstand this murderous intent? He was immediately frightened so much that his face turned pale, his body trembled, and he fell down heavily. This scene shocked everyone into silence. Song Qing, the leader of Black Tiger Village, was also so shocked that he forgot that Lu Yun had approached him again. Clang! The long knife on Lu Yun's back was instantly unsheathed and slashed towards the head of Song Qing, the leader of the Black Tiger Village. When Song Qing woke up, he happened to see the sharp sword light coming. Presumptuous! Song Qing was shocked when he came back to his senses. He completely put aside his previous contempt and picked up the big knife beside him almost like a nervous reaction, holding it horizontally in front of him. Lu Yun held the knife with both hands, and concentrated all his strength on the handle. At the same time, the gang qi in his body was pushed to the extreme, and all of it was poured into the blade. Song Qing, on the other hand, has experienced hundreds of battles. Not only is he rich in combat experience, but he has also experienced many lives and deaths. Although he was shocked by such a sneak attack, he did not panic when he responded to it, and immediately burst out with all his energy. Boom! The two knives collided, making a shocking sound, and the powerful waves of junqi spread out, blowing the clothes of the two men loudly. With all his strength, Song Xing's cultivation was fully displayed. He was at the peak of Tongmei realm. Coupled with his natural brute force advantage, he was not defeated instantly in response to such a powerful blow from Lu Yun, but his figure retreated sharply. The big tiger skin chair behind him was shaken to pieces. Such an unexpected change made all the gangsters in Zhongyi Hall obviously stunned. But what happened next made them even more stunned. No, there should be some people who don't have the chance to be stunned. The moment Lu Yun took action, Xiao Chen also took action at the same time. He drew the sword very quickly, and drew the sword even faster. The sword light was like a white streak, piercing the air, passing through the stunned bandits, and illuminating the dark Zhongyi Hall. After the light disappeared and the dark environment was restored, more than a dozen bandits completely lost their light before their eyes and fell to the ground. Very good, very good. The leader of the Black Tiger Village patted the dust off his body and squeezed out a few words from between his teeth. His tiger eyes were so wide that he almost wanted to choose someone to devour. Lu Yun shook his slightly trembling arm, looked at the long knife with a gap in his hand, and shook his head slightly. This long knife was obtained from the Martial Arts Academy. Although it was not a high-quality weapon, it still had 30 contribution points. In exchange for silver, it would be at least several thousand taels. But not long after he got it, it was almost scrapped, which made him feel depressed. But when his eyes fell on the big knife in the hand of Song Qing, the leader of Black Tiger Village, the cold light flashed in his heart. Wow, a tiger skin chair, a tiger skin coat, and now a nice tiger-headed broadsword. Then the desire to kill and rob treasures came to his mind. I like your sword, Lu Yun shouted, and the long sword in his hand was blessed with the aura, and the blade flashed with dazzling cold light, and he went to kill the Black Tiger village leader who had just stood up. This time, he completely activated the 8 meridians, and all the aura in the dantian in his body surged and blessed the blade, causing the long sword with a gap to tremble. Humph, a little guy who hasn't grown all his hair, also wants to steal someone's sword. The Black Tiger village leader snorted coldly, and the muscles of his arms arched high. He pushed the brute force and the true chi of the peak of the Tongmei realm to the extreme, and poured them all into the broadsword. The 2 swords collided, and the long sword in Lu Yun's hand suddenly broke from the middle, leaving only the lower half of the blade in his hand. The leader of the Black Tiger village was also knocked back by a strong force and the most masculine energy, and the fleeing bandits behind him were shattered and cried to the sky. The sudden break of the weapon startled Lu Yun, who was about to take advantage of the situation to pursue. But soon, he reacted quickly. Holding the handle of the knife, the half-blade still chopped off. The Black Tiger village leader was shocked by the powerful energy just now, and his internal organs were shattered, and blood gushed out of his mouth. Now, for Lu Yun's attack again, he had no time to dodge. While moving his body slightly, he raised the knife again with his strong strength. His speed was still half a second slower, and half of the blade chopped on the waist of the Black Tiger village leader, and blood gushed out. Ah, my waist! The leader of the Black Tiger village screamed in pain, with big beads of sweat on his forehead and golden stars in his eyes. He was in great pain. Even so, his strong willpower made him hold the tiger-headed sword tightly. Impossible, how can you be so powerful? He held the tiger-headed sword in one hand and pressed his waist with the other hand, which was gushing with blood, and looked at Lu Yun in disbelief. Lu Yun ignored his words, repeatedly glanced at the tiger-headed sword of the leader of the Black Tiger village and the half-blade in his hand, and shook his head. Immediately, he approached with cold eyes, and the blood on the broken blade kept dripping. What are you waiting for? Go ahead and kill him. The leader of the Black Tiger village, Song Xing, turned around and shouted loudly to the bandits behind him. But when he looked, the bandits in the Zhongyi Hall were either trembling with fear or lying in a pool of blood. The rest rushed to the gate in a hurry, and then a cold sword light attacked and killed them. Almost in the blink of an eye, the bandits who were fleeing in panic stopped one by one, and their hands could not help but cover their necks, but how could they cover the spurting blood column? Soon, pairs of pupils shrank sharply, and they lost their vitality. Your knife belongs to me. Lu Yun threw the broken blade in his hand to the ground, and the powerful pure yang qi wrapped around his fist, and blasted towards the seriously injured Black Tiger village leader Song Xing. Boom! As if thunder had struck out of nowhere, Song Xing was immediately knocked out, and the Black Tiger sword in his hand was also thrown out. Lu Yun picked up the Black Tiger sword that fell on the ground, and his fingers gently stroked the blade, and a cold feeling passed from his fingers to his mind. Good knife, good knife. Lu Yun's eyes showed unconcealable love. I will repay you for the gift of the sword with a quick death. Song Xing was so angry that he trembled all over, his eyes were burning with anger, and he wanted to strangle the child in front of him immediately, just like he strangled others before. But now is different from the past, and Lu Yun is no longer the character he could strangle to death with ease in the past. The knife fell, and a head with wide eyes rolled on the ground, and the huge body of Song Xing, the leader of the Black Tiger village, also fell to the ground with a bang. The loyalty hall was silent, so quiet that it made people tremble. Xiao Chen stood with a sword in his hand, looking coldly at the bandits who were trembling in place, and his powerful aura frightened their bodies to tremble even more. Today, the bandits of the Black Tiger village held a meeting in the loyalty hall. All the elites of the Black Tiger village were present, most of whom were in the martial arts realm, and some were already in the early stage of the Tongmei realm. But under Xiao Chen's sword, like ordinary people, they had almost no power to resist. What frightened them even more was that their powerful leader, who was as powerful as a god, could not hold out for several rounds in the hands of a half-grown boy. It was terrible. The strength of these two boys was more terrifying than the other, and they were simply monsters. Almost at the same time, the bandits who were trembling in fear had such a thought in their minds. Lu Yun came over with a tiger-headed broadsword that was almost half his height, and instantly saw the situation in Zhongyi Hall. During the time he was dealing with the leader of the Black Tiger village, Xiao Chen had killed dozens of people, and the rest of the bandits were also frightened by the killing. This powerful fighting power was simply frightening. Seeing Lu Yun coming over, Xiao Chen nodded slightly. He killed the leader of the Black Tiger village at the peak of the Tongmei realm with just 3 or 2 moves. Lu Yun's strength was higher than he expected. Lu Yun also smiled slightly. It is said that the attacking methods of sword cultivators are the most terrifying. Today, I saw that it is indeed true. Just a bunch of rabble. Xiao Chen shook his head, then looked at the remaining bandits in the loyalty hall, and his eyes became fierce again. Although they are just a mob, they never show mercy when they poison those powerless people. After the words fell, the long sword shook, the sword light swayed, and instantly turned into dozens of points of light that shot out. Each point was like a blooming starlight, so bright that the bandits' eyes were blurred and they could not tell the direction. The sword light dissipated. Xiao Chen put away the sword and stood up, without a drop of blood on his body, as if the fierce battle that happened before had nothing to do with him. Looking at the bodies that fell to the ground one by one, Lu Yun said nothing. Xiao Chen was right. Although these bandits lost their leader, they still had a lot of strength compared to ordinary people. If they were let go today, they might not be harming others in the future. Besides, these people had blood on their hands, and they deserved to be slaughtered today. Well, where is Captain Wang? Lu Yun suddenly found that Captain Wang, who had rushed into Zhongyi Hall with them, was nowhere to be seen. One person escaped when we started just now, and Captain Wang chased him out. Xiao Chen responded, and then lowered his head to search the corpse. This scene made Lu Yun stunned. Immediately, he also followed Xiao Chen and started to act. After a cup of tea, the two raised their heads again, and when their eyes met, they all smiled knowingly. The harvest was not much. Lu Yun only found more than 200 taels of silver. But it was an extra income after all, and Lu Yun was quite satisfied with it. I should have left one alive just now. Xiao Chen frowned slightly, as if he had thought of something. Feeling Lu Yun's puzzled gaze, Xiao Chen said, there should be a lot of inventory in the Black Tiger village's treasure house. If there is no one to lead us, I'm afraid we can only rely on ourselves to slowly search, and we may not find it. Oh, I almost forgot this most important place. Lu Yun stamped his feet and said to Xiao Chen, follow me. Xiao Chen did not doubt him and followed Lu Yun out of the loyalty hall and walked towards the residential complex. Lu Yun went straight to the building that looked the most standardly decorated. After entering the inner room, the powerful aura condensed on the blade, and slashed it horizontally in front of him, and the wall collapsed. Lu Yun guessed correctly, there was indeed a different world inside. How do you know there is a dark room here? It seems like you have been here before. Xiao Chen looked at Lu Yun in surprise. If Lu Yun had not come with him, he would have thought that Lu Yun was a member of the Black Tiger village. In the entire mountain village, the Black Tiger village owner has the highest status, and the place where he lives is naturally different. By the same token, the most precious things should be kept by the people with the highest status. Of course, this is just my guess, but fortunately I guessed it right. After speaking, Lu Yun walked forward. There are 3 big boxes here. Lu Yun shook his right hand, and the long knife moved slightly, and the lock on the box broke. It seems that we have a good harvest. Looking at the white silver in front of him, Lu Yun nodded slightly, and then closed the box. Then, he swung the knife again, ready to split the locks on the other 2 boxes. But someone was one step faster than him and had already opened the box. Lu Yun smiled and shook his head. It was Xiao Chen who opened the box. Judging from his actions just now, he was much more skilled than Lu Yun. Lu Yun's eyes fell on 2 boxes, one of which was shining in colorful jewelry and silver ornaments. The other box was empty, with only 2 yellowed books placed in it. Could it be martial arts? Lu Yun and Xiao Chen each picked up a yellowed book and flipped through it. The martial arts book in Lu Yun's hand is a sword technique called Black Tiger Sword Technique, a first-class martial arts book. The book in Xiao Chen's hand is a sword technique called Blinking Sword Technique, which is also a first-class martial arts. Lu Yun used the sword, and Xiao Chen practiced the sword, so they just put everything to good use. What to do with these 2 boxes of silver and gold and silver jewelry? Lu Yun said with some embarrassment after putting away the black tiger sword technique. Each box weighed at least 100 kilograms, so they were asked to carry a box each and go back proudly. This is obviously impossible. It's easy. As soon as he finished speaking, Xiao Chen took out a small yellow cloth bag, which seemed to be a small space of its own, and instantly put the 2 large boxes on the ground into it. Although he has never eaten pork, it does not mean that he has never seen pigs running. Lu Yun naturally knew that the little cloth bag was a zumi bag. Although the sumaru bag is only the size of a palm, there is indeed something else inside, with a space of 1 cubic meter. Although the space is small, it is practical and the price is very high. It costs at least tens of thousands of taels to buy one. Lu Yun had seen it when he was exchanging weapons in the martial arts academy, but it required 300 contribution points, so he gave up the idea of getting it. In the weapons building of the Martial Academy's Internal Affairs Hall, there are not only sumaru bags but also sumaru rings. The space inside the zumi bag is the same, only 1 cubic meter in size. The sumaru ring is different. Different sumaru rings have different space sizes, but the smallest sumaru ring also has a space of 10 cubic meters. There are 3 types of sumaru rings in the weapons building of the House of Internal Affairs, with spaces of 10 cubic meters, 50 cubic meters, and 100 cubic meters. As for the exchange price, Lu Yun did not ask. He is not even qualified to buy a zumi bag, he is really shameless. The zumi bag is very useful. It's worth buying one. After all, you can't carry everything when you go out. Xiao Chen tied the zumi bag around his waist and made a casual comment. The sumaru bag is too small and inconvenient. I am planning to buy a sumaru ring with a larger space. Xiao Chen gave Lu Yun a strange look and continued. After we finish dealing with it, I will return to the Martial Arts Academy and distribute it with you. Okay. Immediately, the 2 came out of the secret room. The 2 of them came outside and happened to see Wang Captu returning. At this time, Wang Chao had a slender forehead, and his breathing was a little rapid. After taking a long breath, he slowly said, "That guy was too fast, and I knew the terrain of Black Tiger Village very well, so I didn't catch up with him." Xiao Chen didn't care about him, but Lu Yun asked casually, "Who is the person who ran away?" Wu Sheng, the military advisor of Black Tiger Village, is the second most powerful person after the leader of Black Tiger Village. Wu Sheng. What a pity it's not Wu Yang. Lu Yun's words made Wang Captu confused, but he didn't explain. He just lit a torch and threw it into the house. Soon, flames broke out of the house and spread toward nearby homes. Seeing the fire gradually getting bigger in front of him, the Black Tiger Village was shrouded in a blaze of light. Lu Yun said calmly, "The Black Tiger Village has become a cloud from now on. The next stop is the Black Wolf Gang. On the way, Captain." Wang introduced the situation and details of the Black Wolf Gang to Lu Yun and Xiao Chen. The reason why the Black Wolf Gang is so named is because its leader owns a psychic black wolf monster whose strength has reached the peak of the 2nd level. It was also because of this monster that the Black Wolf Gang advanced into the Qingyan Mountains under the purge of Qingyan County. With the leader of a 2nd level peak monster, the Black Wolf Gang's stronghold is deeper into the Qingyan Mountains than the Black Tiger Village. As the 3 of them continued to advance inside, Lu Yun felt more and more palpitated. Because this place is getting closer and closer to the inner Qingyan Mountains, the possibility of encountering monsters will become more and more likely. But it was strange that they didn't encounter any monsters along the way, not even hares or the like. The unusualness of all this made the 3 of them more cautious. Lu Yun even took off the tiger-headed sword from his back and held it in his hand. Whenever he detects danger, he immediately mobilizes Gang Qi, infuses it into the blade, and cuts out the legendary sword Qi. Not to mention, this tiger head broadsword is of very good quality. It can easily withstand all of Lu Yun's Gang Qi, and with the blessing of Gang Qi, it can chop out the separated sword Qi. Suddenly, Lu Yun's eyes narrowed and he found a lot of blood stains on the weeds not far away, and the shrubs on the side were also quite messy. These should be the traces left by monsters and other large animals when they hunt, but it is not far from the Black Wolf Gang's station, so there should be no other monsters or large animals moving around. Wang Captu said doubtfully. His words also made Lu Yun and Xiao Chen feel clouded. The 3 of them continued to move forward. Along the way, There were a lot of blood stains, and they even found the remains of many small animals, which was shocking. Are these footprints? Xiao Chen's eyes were immediately attracted by the marks next to the carcass of an elk. Lu Yun's eyes also fell on those footprints. Looking at the huge footprints, Lu Yun couldn't help but shudder. The mark was half a foot deep and 2 feet wide. If it was really a footprint, it would be really terrifying. To be able to leave footprints that are 2 feet wide, how big must the monster be and how strong must it be? Could it be that the monsters from deep in the Qingyan Mountains have come out? Captain Wang was also frightened by the huge footprints and his face changed. If it is really a monster coming out, we may be in danger if we continue to walk. Xiao Chen did not comment, and said lightly, if Captain Wang is afraid, you can go back first. Junior brother Lu and I will continue to walk the next section of the road. Haha, how can this be possible? Besides, we are already here and will soon reach the Black Wolf Gang's base. I think it is unlikely to encounter monsters. At this time, Lu Yun suddenly pointed to the front and said, Captain Wang, you see there are many building complexes there. Is it the Black Wolf Gang's base? Captain Wang hurriedly looked in the direction Lu Yun pointed, and his face was immediately happy. Yes, that is the Black Wolf Gang's base. After receiving Captain Wang's response, Lu Yun and Xiao Chen both smiled slightly and breathed a sigh of relief. If they continue to go deeper into the Qingyan Mountains, it will also be a danger for them. Half an hour later, they finally arrived in front of a gate. Inside was a group of houses built with wood. Judging from the scale of the buildings, it was a garrison for at least 200 or 300 people. However, to their surprise, the entire garrison had no defenses, and the surroundings were extremely quiet. It was so quiet that it was frightening. What a strong smell of blood. Xiao Chen frowned. A breeze blew by, and Lu Yun also felt a strong breath coming from his nose, which was exactly the smell of blood that Xiao Chen mentioned. Roar. At this time, a beast roar came from the gate, shaking the somewhat dilapidated gate creaking, and the trees on both sides trembled. At the moment when the beast roared, a huge black figure appeared at the other side of the gate like a gust of wind, with bloodthirsty eyes flashing, looking at Lu Yun and the other two. This is a black wolf, with scarlet eyes flashing bloodthirsty light, open mouth revealing sharp teeth, strong limbs staggered slapping the ground, making bursts of noise. Unlike the monsters evolved from energy in the Wanxiang Tower, the black wolf on the other side of the gate is a real monster. The light flashing in his eyes can be felt from a long distance, which is the desire for food. In his eyes, Lu Yun and the other two were regarded as delicious food. In other words, almost all monsters regard humans as food. This is an innate instinct, deeply imprinted in the blood, bones, and even blood inheritance of all monsters. Captain Wang, you said before that the leader of the Black Wolf Gang has a black wolf monster that can communicate with spirits, but this one? Lu Yun asked Captain Wang beside him while examining the black wolf. I don't know, but if there is no accident, it should be this one. Captain Wang pulled out the long knife on his back and raised his stake to the peak. He could feel the strong and dangerous aura from the black wolf, and the breathtaking eyes made him feel like a thorn in his back. The accident has happened. If I am not mistaken, there is no survivor in the Black Wolf Gang. Xiao Chen held the hilt of the sword with his right hand, and looked through the gap in the fence to scan the situation inside. Inside, there was chaos and the ground was in a mess. From a distance, several fragmented corpses and pools of dried blood could be vaguely seen. All this showed that the Black Wolf Gang had suffered a major accident, and not even a single survivor was left. As for the cause of this accident, it was not considered by the three of them. Roar! The Black Wolf Demon roared wildly. At this time, 2 deep pits had been dug in front of it, and the claws of its front feet were also polished to a bright shine. And with its roar, a strong breath emanated, and the ground was covered with smoke and dust. This monster has broken through the bottleneck and become a 3rd-level monster. Be careful. As soon as Xiao Chen finished speaking, the huge body of the black wolf shook violently, and it burst out with an amazing speed, blasting the door directly into pieces, and rushed towards it with a gust of wind. Not good, his target is me. Captain Wang was almost certain that the other party's target was him, and it seemed that he was the weakest of the three. The sense of monsters is much more accurate than that of humans, and they can avoid certain potential dangers by intuition. This black wolf monster's perception of crisis is indeed correct. Captain Wang is much weaker than Lu Yun and Xiao Chen. Of course, even Lu Yun and Xiao Chen did not give it a strong crisis. But it did not take it lightly and chose to break through from the weakest link. Swish! In almost the blink of an eye, the huge body of the black wolf monster rushed in front of Captain Wang, and the powerful impact directly blew Captain Wang, who was defending with all his strength, away for more than 10 meters. Puff! Captain Wang spurted out a mouthful of blood. The muscles on his arms and even the bones of his whole body trembled constantly, and the long knife in his hand had been knocked down by the collision just now, and he didn't know where it fell. This was just a meeting. If he really had to face this black wolf monster, the result would be self-evident. Without the slightest hesitation, Captain Wang immediately called for help. "Two gentlemen, please help me." In fact, even without Captain Wang asking for help, Lu Yun and Xiao Chen would not have just watched and ignored it. The reason why they didn't take action at the first time just now was because they didn't expect the black wolf monster to use Captain Wang as a breakthrough point. But the scene that happened just now really shocked them. Captain Wang was at least in the late stage of Tongmei realm, but he completely lost his ability to resist after a meeting with the black wolf monster. This powerful explosive power was simply shocking. Lu Yun and Xiao Chen didn't dare to be careless, and immediately went to support Captain Wang. Roar! The roar of the beast was like thunder from the ground. The black wolf monster had completely regarded Wang the captain as a breakthrough point. At the moment of blasting him away, it took advantage of the situation and rushed forward with its huge body. My life is over. Seeing the black wolf's ferocious eyes and sharp claws gradually approaching him, Wang the captain was frightened and his pupils widened. Boom! A violent sound suddenly exploded, and the black wolf's huge body was shaken back several steps. Lu Yun, who rescued Wang the captain in the first time, was also blasted far away. His arms holding the tiger-headed broadsword were numb, and a mouthful of reverse blood spurted into his throat, which he forced to suppress. You know, his physical body had broken through the limit twice, far stronger than the same level warriors. After breaking through the Tongmei realm, he went through repeated qi tempering. His physical body was already extremely strong, but he was almost injured in the confrontation with this black wolf. It can be imagined that the previous Captain Wang was lucky not to die. Evil beast, die! Xiao Chen, who arrived a step slower, slashed at the black wolf monster with a flash of sword light. The powerful true qi and sword energy bombarded the black wolf, causing its huge body to retreat several steps again, leaving a shallow mark on its body. So strong. Although this black wolf has only just entered the 3rd level, its strength is much stronger than that of a warrior in the early stage of the true qi realm. Xiao Chen shook his trembling right arm, and at the same time, more powerful true qi was infused into the sword body, and sword energy was stimulated on the blade. Oh-ho! First, his attack was blocked, and then he was attacked by a sword. The black wolf was furious. His scarlet eyes flashed with madness. After a roar, he rushed towards Xiao Chen without caring about anything. The monster has wisdom that is not inferior to humans, but in terms of rationality, it is far inferior to humans. After being enraged, the previous rationality and tactics were completely thrown behind it. This monster is very strong, let's fight together. Lu Yun calmed the blood that had surged to his throat before, and also urged the internal energy to the tiger-headed sword, gushing out the sharp sword energy, and fought fiercely with the black wolf together with Xiao Chen. After a fierce battle, the two were knocked away by the huge body of the black wolf at the same time, and blood spurted out of their mouths at the same time. The 3rd level monster is indeed outrageously powerful. Just the hard defense made the attack effect of Xiao Chen and Lu Yun negligible. In addition, it possessed a violent and wild power, which made Lu Yun and Xiao Chen only able to attack, and defense was completely impossible. The action was a little slow, and the black wolf seized the opportunity, and suddenly collided with it, injuring both of them at the same time. Roar! The huge black wolf roared, and its 4 thick hooves hit the ground, quickly approaching Lu Yun and Xiao Chen. Lu Yun's eyes flashed with a sharp light, and then he growled, I am responsible for attacking from the front, Xiao Chen, you attack from the back. As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Yun jumped high, and the 8 meridians mobilized the energy at the same time, gathering on the tiger-headed sword, and a 1-meter-long sword energy whistled out. At the moment when Lu Yun launched the attack, Xiao Chen's figure also moved. Lu Yun jumped high, and the tiger-headed broadsword wrapped with a 1-meter-long sword energy chopped on the black wolf's head. Zzz. With a crisp sound like steel colliding, sparks burst out from the intersection of the blade and the black wolf's head. In the end, Lu Yun's tiger-headed broadsword only left a faint mark on the black wolf's head. What a terrifying defense! Lu Yun's face changed slightly. Although he already knew that the black wolf's defense was very strong, he didn't expect it to be so perverted and terrifying. His almost full-strength sword didn't break the black wolf's defense, leaving only a shallow mark. Shocked, Lu Yun didn't dare to relax, and quickly withdrew with the power of the recoil. At the same time, Xiao Chen, who went around the back of the black wolf, also used a sharp sword technique to attack the black wolf's butt and black back frantically. Although Xiao Chen's swordsmanship was not as powerful as Lu Yun's swordsmanship, its attack and penetration were obviously stronger, penetrating the black wolf's defense and leaving faint traces of blood on its body. Oh ho! Feeling the stinging pain coming from its body, the black wolf roared madly. At the same time, its powerful muscles kept pulsating, its shiny black hair stood up, and its powerful force was released suddenly, stirring up a burst of smoke and dust. Lu Yun and Xiao Chen's attack obviously completely angered the black wolf. After exerting its frenzy, the black wolf's defense and strength became even more terrifying. With a flick of its tail, it pulled Xiao Chen back continuously. At the same time, its huge body moved suddenly, almost turning into a beam of light and rushing towards Lu Yun, who was attacking from the front. Humph, what about a third-level monster? Lu Yun snorted coldly, infusing all his energy into the tiger-headed broadsword, aiming at the right time, and slashing accurately at the black wolf's bloody mouth. Ding! With a sound of steel clashing, only one of the black wolf's sharp teeth was cut off, and Lu Yun was thrown away by the black wolf's head. The black wolf roared and continued to charge towards Lu Yun, but how could Xiao Chen let it do as he wished? Xiao Chen jumped high into the air, and the silver-white sword blade flashed a sharp light under the sunlight. Xiao Chen's eyes flashed with cold light, and the sword energy rolled around him. He took a deep breath, raised the 3-foot green sword in his hand high, and shouted, "Since I have the 3-foot green sword, my life is in my own hands from now on." A sword light flashed between heaven and earth. Although the black wolf was fast, it was not faster than the sword light that suddenly appeared. Although the black wolf's defense was abnormal, it could not resist the sword light that suddenly appeared in the world. The 3-foot-long blade easily broke through the black wolf's defense and pierced into its flesh, with almost no resistance. Suddenly, bright red blood flowed out of the black wolf's wound. Roar! The unprecedented pain made the black wolf roar miserably, and the sound almost shook the sky. Xiao Chen's robe was shaken and rustled. In the end, he had to mobilize his true energy to block his ears. Not long after, he had to retreat because of the tail sweeping from the side. Seeing Lu Yun's terrifying attack, Lu Yun sighed softly. It's worthy of being a sword genius who can kill Tongmei realm warriors when he enters the martial arts realm. But, leave the next one to me. After the words fell, the murderous aura surged like the sea. In this surging murderous aura, a white light suddenly rose up like a comet. After Xiao Chen, who had left the attack range of the black wolf, saw this scene, he could not help but exclaimed, "What a terrifying murderous aura, what a vast true qi." I saw a white light rising into the sky, and the murderous aura surged like a river and sea. Lu Yun, who was wrapped in pure yang gangqi and holding a tiger-headed broadsword, was surrounded by cold murderous aura like a tide. Kill them all. The 7 killings sword technique is called 7 killings, but in fact there are only 3 styles. The first style is to kill all. Only with the determination to kill all can you stimulate the murderous aura and enhance your combat power. Now that Lu Yun's 7 killings sword technique has been fully developed, the murderous aura has long been stimulated, and it is surging like a tide, suppressing the powerful momentum of the black wolf head-on. The heavy tiger-headed broadsword, with the blessing of murderous aura and pure yang gangqi at the same time, stimulated the red and white sword aura, which has both the most rigid and yang attributes and the cold attributes, all of which hit the black wolf's flesh. Lu Yun, who combined the killing spirit and the inner energy perfectly, burst out with strength and speed at this time. Not only could the black wolf not avoid it, but even his terrifying body could not bear it. He was chopped back by the powerful sword energy, and a terrifying scar appeared on his huge body. Roar! Severely injured by Lu Yun's sword, the black wolf roared in anger and fear, and at the same time, the terrifying sound waves hit all directions. Boom! The surrounding buildings and trees were either blown away or shook violently, which was extremely powerful. Lu Yun, who was fully operating the pure yang inner energy, was already in the peak state. In addition, after entering the killing spirit mode, the whole person's spirit and will jumped again, and powerful power surged throughout his body. At this moment, he could even feel the sound of the blood surging in his body, the sound of his heart beating, the sound of the true energy flowing in his dantian and meridians, and even the sound of his muscles beating. Strong, unprecedented strength, unprecedented control. After stepping on the ground, leaving a phantom. Then another knife. Bang! The white and red blade light was as condensed as water, a foot long, and it directly passed over the black wolf's neck. It cut through the thick hair, wolf skin, muscles, bones. Everything was cut. The speed was extremely fast, the power was extremely strong, and the sharp and invincible blade completely broke through the defense of the black wolf. Its body, which was as strong as a copper wall, could not block this knife at all. Xiao Chen was stunned. He had just used the first sword and had already injured the black wolf. And this was only the first sword. As long as his second sword was used, the black wolf would be half dead even if he didn't die. At that time, he would let him slaughter it. But in the last link, Lu Yun actually picked the fruit. This made him angry, but he could do nothing about it and could only sigh. As for Wang the captain, he was completely shocked. Both Xiao Chen and Lu Yun were too strong. And they were the kind of strong that became stronger as they fought. The moment before, the two of them could not defeat the black wolf together, but the next moment they could repel the black wolf alone and even severely injure the black wolf. Are all the disciples of the martial arts academy so terrifying? Captain Wang sighed and watched the battle between Lu Yun and the black wolf intently. Finally, Lu Yun seemed to be in an extreme state, his speed and strength suddenly increased, and he hit the black wolf to the limit with one blow, and then he chopped the huge head high with another blow. All of this was a bit dreamy, as if he was hit so hard that he couldn't stand steadily after just one encounter. The 7 kills sword technique was indeed terrifying, and He Lang was completely killed without persisting for a few times. Go in and take a look, what happened to the Black Wolf gang? Lu Yun didn't even look at the completely dead Black Wolf. His body was surrounded by white gang chi, and his whole body turned into a white stream of light and rushed into the Black Wolf gang's station. There was no one alive, the ground was full of broken corpses and skeletons, the houses and buildings were extremely damaged, but there were no traces of the warriors fighting. The incident in the Black Wolf gang should be related to the monster outside. After checking it, Wang Kaptu made such a conclusion based on the scene just now and his many years of experience. That makes sense, but things are definitely not as simple as we see. Lu Yun expressed his doubts. There was no body or remains of the second monster here, which proved that the Black Wolf he killed outside was the psychic monster who was the leader of the Black Wolf gang. Logically speaking, if the leader of the Black Wolf gang has been with his psychic monster for such a long time, he will not easily devour the leader. There must be other changes, but the specific reasons are unknown. At this time, Xiao Chen on the side said calmly, monsters and humans have always been incompatible with each other, and there is no possibility of resolution. The Black Wolf gang only used some means to temporarily enslave the monsters, but the enslavement methods are too inferior. There are huge limitations, and once certain conditions are triggered, backlash is inevitable. This Black Wolf has been promoted from the 2nd level to the 3rd level. Its strength far exceeds that of the leader of the Black Wolf gang. It has broken the enslavement method. The anger of being enslaved for many years has accumulated to the limit. In addition, the deep bloodline of the monster beast covets humans. It is normal for him to massacre all the Black Wolf gang. Well, that's a good explanation, but since the leader of the Black Wolf gang knows that his slavery methods are flawed, how can he let it grow to this point, and how can he continue to survive? Lu Yun continued his analysis. The breakthrough of the Black Wolf monster is very rare by chance, or there are other boosting forces. Hearing this, Xiao Chen's eyes lit up and he couldn't help but said, "You mean, the reason why the Black Wolf monster was promoted to the 3rd level and broke the shackles of slavery was because other forces took action?" Yes, but what kind of force took action, and for what purpose did they destroy the Black Wolf gang even if they let a 2nd level monster break through? These are all a mystery. At this time, Wang Kaptu finally took advantage of the opportunity and said, "Could it be that the Black Wolf Gang is the White Lotus sect's stronghold in Qingyan County, and in order to erase certain traces, they deliberately let the monsters destroy everything in the Black Wolf Gang?" Xiao Chen shook his head slightly. The White Lotus sect does have this strength, but it does not have this motive. Besides, there is no evidence to prove whether the Black Wolf Gang is the stronghold of the White Lotus sect. Lu Yun nodded, quite agreeing with Xiao Chen's opinion. However, in a flash, he suddenly remembered that they had seen footprints on the road before. The footprints were 2 feet wide and were obviously much larger than the Black Wolf Demon's 4 legs. A guess suddenly appeared in his mind, but he quickly stopped it because he felt that his guess was a bit unrealistic. "Maybe I'm unfounded." Lu Yun shook his head gently. With nothing to gain from the Black Wolf Gang, Lu Yun and Xiao Chen only have one last target left, which is Bayan Villa. The 3 of them searched the Black Wolf Gang in unison and made some great gains. After the assignment was completed, the 3 of them began to leave from the Qingyan Mountains and headed towards the Bayan Villa. Shortly after Lu Yun and others killed the Black Wolf, a huge body suddenly opened its eyes deep in the Qingyan Mountains. The eyes were like 2 relatively static planets, shining with a faint light, like an abyss or a sea. "Forget it, it's just a casual chess piece, it's harmless." Immediately, he fell into deep sleep again. Bayan Villa is located in the other direction of the county, on top of Baisho Mountain. By the time Lu Yun and the others arrived at the bottom of Baisho Mountain, the sunset had filled the sky and gradually turned towards black clouds. Wang Kaptu suggested, "It's already dark. How about we find a farmhouse at the foot of the mountain to rest for the night and go up the mountain tomorrow morning?" Lu Yun and Xiao Chen almost said in unison, "No, just go up the mountain now." Black Tiger Village and Black Wolf Gang have verified that they have no connection with the White Lotus sect, and now the only suspect left is Bayan Villa. It can be said that there is almost certainly a problem with Bayan Villa. Even if it is not a stronghold of the White Lotus sect, it is still connected to the White Lotus sect. Some farm fireworks can be vaguely seen at the bottom of Baisho Mountain, but halfway up the mountain there is no human habitation. However, starting from the middle of the mountain, some strange medicinal materials are planted, and they are growing very well. Lu Yun also specially picked a few strains to take, but unfortunately there was no movement in the energy value on the panel. This made Lu Yun depressed for a while. By the time they climbed Baisho Mountain and saw the outline of Bayan Villa in the distance, the sky had turned completely dark. At night, Bayan Villa, which should be bustling and brightly lit, seemed quiet and dark, with only a few scattered glimmers of light providing guidance for Lu Yun and the others from afar. The population of Bayan Villa is very small. Lu Yun asked Wang Kaptu. Previously, Wang Kaptu only briefly introduced Qin Meng, the owner of Bayan Villa, and Yun Feiyan, the second owner of the villa, but did not describe its scale too much. "It's not too much, but it will have a population of no less than 200 or 300. While replying, Wang Kaptu frowned slightly, apparently discovering some problems. "It's just dark now, so logically speaking, the huge Bayan Villa should be brightly lit." But the Bayan Villa they saw now was the opposite, which seemed a bit abnormal. "Bayan Villa is not normal, Mr. Xiao, Mr. Liu, we have to be careful next." Wang Kaptu reminded him and began to look around cautiously. He has not fully recovered from the injuries he suffered in the Qingyan Mountains. If an accident happens next, it will not be a good thing for him. Isn't this already expected? Unlike Wang Kaptu, who was cautious, Lu Yun and Xiao Chen were somewhat happy and moved. If Bayan Villa is really the stronghold of the White Lotus sect, then the purpose of their trip is almost half accomplished. As long as they can be wiped out, they can return to the martial arts academy. As for whether it can be erased, they are not very worried. As for the reason, it is confidence in one's own strength. Especially for Lu Yun, who had just killed a 3rd-level monster, this confidence was even stronger. "I know that the strength of the 2 young masters is far superior to that of warriors of the same level, but Bayan Villa is different from gangsters like Black Tiger Village. There are many destructive people in it." Before Wang Kaptu finished speaking, a loud sound suddenly appeared in the silent night. Whoosh, whoosh, countless arrows shot out from the dark night, as dense as raindrops, shocking the faces of Lu Yun and the others. "No, there's an ambush." Wang Kaptu, who had always been cautious, was the first to react. He flashed and ran to a big tree not far away to avoid the arrow. As for Lu Yun and Xiao Chen, they were not only strong, but also very fast. With their amazing speed, they each found a nearby boulder as a shelter. The arrows sizzled on the boulder, bursting out bursts of sparks, providing some light to this dark environment. At the same time, the three of them witnessed the terrifying arrow rain, which covered an area of dozens of feet in radius. Moreover, such a large-scale shooting lasted for half a cup of tea. If the three of them hadn't reacted quickly, they would have been shot into hedgehogs even if they had true energy to protect their bodies. After all, high-intensity arrow shooting in that kind of defense consumes a lot of infuriating energy. The other party seemed to know our news in advance and actually set up an ambush here in advance. Lu Yun glanced at Wang Captu, who was hiding behind the big tree. Their whereabouts were so secretive that no one except the county magistrate and Wang Captu could know about them. Bayan Villa set up such a large-scale ambush, and you would have to believe that the news did not leak out. Looking at the sparks bursting out from the boulder, Xiao Chen said calmly, "Actually, what I want to know more is why a small villa has such a large number of lethal and powerful crossbows. The Great Yuan dynasty explicitly prohibited all forces except the city guards and the army from possessing small-scale and highly lethal crossbows." Facing the simultaneous cross-examination by Lu Yun and Xiao Chen, Wang Captu smiled bitterly and said, "Didn't the two young masters say that Bayan Villa is probably the stronghold of the White Lotus sect? Since it is related to the White Lotus sect, it is normal to have a large number of crossbows, and the White Lotus sect has many eyes and ears, so it will not be difficult for them to know the news about us going up the mountain." On the other side of the night, everyone in Bayan Villa was holding crossbows and hiding among the rugged rocks. "Stop shooting for now, and send a few more brothers over to check if those people are dead," said a strong man with a face full of flesh and a beard. This strong man is Qin Mang, the current owner of Bayan Villa. "Yes, owner." Soon, three neat warriors flew away smoothly. "Hey, what do you think of those two young men, Miss Yun?" Qin Mang, a tall man, smiled at a woman in white beside him. The woman in white has a graceful figure and graceful posture. She is about 20 years old. She is Yun Feiyan, the second owner of Bayan Villa, and a member of the White Lotus sect. Behind her stood a middle-aged man in a brocade robe, like a subordinate, with a very respectful attitude. If Lu Yun and Xiao Chen saw this person, they would definitely find that he was somewhat familiar. Yes, this person is Wu Sheng, the military advisor of Black Tiger Village. "Master Qin, please don't underestimate those two people. After all, they are martial arts disciples from Lingwu County." Yun Feiyan Zhen nodded lightly, her voice clear and sweet. Even among martial arts disciples, there are distinctions. Two boys of 13 or 14 years old can only enter the martial arts academy for a year or two at most. No matter how talented they are, they will be in the Tongmei realm. Qin Mang curled his lips nonchalantly. He had long been a strong man at the peak of Tongmei realm. After receiving the help of the White Lotus sect, his cultivation had broken through the bottleneck and reached a higher level. How could he be afraid of two underage teenagers like this? If he, the second owner of the village, hadn't been too cautious, he wouldn't have needed a crossbow at all. With just a few moves, the matter would have ended perfectly. Yun Feiyan just said calmly to Wu Sheng beside him, "You and Master Qin will tell you the details of what you saw." Wu Sheng stepped forward in response and cupped his hands towards Qin Mang. "Master Qin, we must not be careless. Those two young men are not good at it. One of them has a very strong swordsmanship. The hundreds of bandits in Black Tiger Village have no ability to resist under his sword. The other one is also very terrifying. Just one look can scare a strong man to the ground. Moreover, even Song Xing, the leader of Black Tiger Village, is no match for him. Song Xing just broke through to the pinnacle of Tongmei realm not long ago, and he has hundreds of bandits under his command, half of whom are warriors who have entered the martial arts realm." Hearing this, Qin Mang frowned slightly. His understanding of Song Xing was still a few years ago. At that time, the opponent was only in the late stage of the Tongmei realm, but he had terrifying brute strength, and his strength was not much worse than his original. Nearly 50 warriors, as well as a strong man at the pinnacle of Tongmei realm, were swept away by two teenagers. Even though he was arrogant, he had to put away his previous contempt. However, that's all. The gap between the Tongmei realm and the Truchi realm is not something that ordinary geniuses can bridge. Moreover, he has the entire Bayan villa behind him, so he is not afraid of two young men from the martial arts academy. Except for the crossbowmen, the others are slowly approaching the front and surrounding the entire area. Don't let them escape. Qin Meng ordered one of his men, then turned to Yun Feiyan and said, Miss Yun, let's go over and see if they are alive or dead. No, now is not the time. Yun Feiyan said. Master Qin, use rockets to consume them again, and then charge forward again. Qin Meng frowned slightly, thought for a moment, and felt that this method was feasible, so he ordered, get the rocket ready and wait for my order. It seems like someone is coming. Lu Yun, who was hiding behind the boulder, stared intently. Sure enough, 3 figures were slowly approaching in the night, gradually approaching the place where Xiao Chen was hiding. Xiao Chen did not move, but gently pressed the hilt of the sword with his right hand, secretly mobilizing his true energy. At this moment, clang, a crisp sword sound rang out, and the moment the sword was unsheathed, a cold sword light flashed out at the same time. Puff, 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 almost in an instant, the 3 black shadows fell at the same time. Well done. Lu Yun gave Xiao Chen a thumbs up across the night. 3 kills with 1 sword. This speed and swordsmanship are simply amazing. Lu Yun was instantly amazed twice in his heart. When he fought in the Black Tiger village, he had seen the speed of Xiao Chen's sword. This time, he saw it again, and the shock in his heart was still not reduced at all. Xiao Chen smiled faintly at Lu Yun's actions. In the dark night, the faint starlight did not add much light. Master, a cup of tea has passed, and the brother sent to get the news has not returned yet. Something must have happened, said a warrior in the early stage of Tongmei realm, and the others also looked at Qin Meng. In the dark night, Qin Meng, who was strong and full of beard, had a cold light in his eyes, and then waved his hand and shouted loudly, shoot. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.